Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the newest episode, season 3 of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. As always, I have my hot priest mug with me. It says Neil on the back. I don't think I showed our guest that, but he did see the hot priest candle that is lit. Anyway, I'm very excited about our next guest. That's proper English, right? I say, like, I don't know if I'm sure I said this to you. You're probably one of the nicest humans I've ever met, and it's kind of not fair.
I'll take it. Although sometimes as nice is different than good. So hopefully I'm also good.
Well, I mean, I also don't know you that well yet.
Well, my name's David and I have authority issues and I'm working on them through therapy.
Oh no. Well, anyway, David A. Gregory's here. Can you hear that? Is it loud enough?
I could hear it, yes.
Great, I turned it off. David A. Gregory, how are you doing? I'm
good. It's weird because we've already been our own audience warm up, but now here we are. And I feel very warmed up and I feel ready to, I'm very happy to be on your show. I'm very excited.
I'm so excited to have you. Because the past few days, you're like, I can't wait. I'm like, I hope that's just because you love and adores me so much.
Truly. And also, I think theater podcasts are really important. They have gotten me through this pandemic, listening to interviews of people I admire, and some of them are archived through different companies. And we need to perpetuate artistic joy. And if I can be a part of doing that for somebody else, then job well done.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be a podcast about you, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
But also, I mean, I already showed David this, but for the 2 people who've actually listened to my podcast fully, literally, nobody listens.
I'm going to change that.
Please tell the kids at home, tell your friends from the foreign countries who slide into your DMs. I'm sorry, should I not mention that? Anyway.
No, I mean,
your theater mug is of Angels in America.
Love that.
Because, I mean, can we say that you're supposed to do it, or?
Yeah, no, it's, last I checked, I think it's still on the theater's website. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but
do I have to travel to see you in it then?
Well, here's the other thing.
I have to be a good friend and do that?
At some point, I mean, it depends on how long they delay it. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to age out of some of these things.
I think you're fine. I mean, Lee Pace is in his 40s and
That's true. And yeah, he did an excellent job.
Yeah. And Russell Tovey, I mean, he did it in London.
Right.
I think he's not 40 yet, or just 40.
He looks much younger than that, so good on him. But for those of you unsure as to which role we're talking about, this is Joe Pitt in Angels in America.
Yes, also portrayed by Patrick Wilson and his Tushy in the miniseries, and that's where
so good in that.
You know that he was actually doing Oklahoma at the same time.
Oh wow! So while they were shooting it.
Yeah, and I only know this because of Andrea Martin getting interviewed about it somewhere and saying Patrick Wilson, he was doing this and then he never complained. It was his first movie gig, first TV gig, and he gets an Emmy nomination
and a Golden Globe and
excuse me, yeah. And now he's directing one of the Conjuring movies, and he's an Aquaman, and he's in the second Aquaman. I have hardly watched any superhero movies, unlike you. I was literally thinking about this today. I was like, what do I watch? I watch The Office.
Mm-hmm.
I watch Friends when it's on, and Family Guy.
Fleabag.
Oh, well, I haven't watched it in a while. I don't sit and binge watch it.
Well, you sound like you're similar to me, and at the end of the day, I need to watch comfort food. I can't watch Handmaid's Tale because it stresses me out, and I also recognize that's a privilege. But
what's your comfort food show?
My comfort food is, oh God, you're gonna out me. Here we go. Frasier.
Okay. I think I saw you post about that before.
Just like a fuddy-duddy old man inside. And I really like, oh God, this is really, it's not embarrassing. I'm gonna own this. I really like the Andy Griffith Show. I really, really like it.
Listen, from what I gather, from the little I know about you and working with you, you like old school movies and stuff. So the Andy Griffith Show doesn't.
It's also you can see, I could talk a lot about this. You can trace back the sitcom storytelling roots, with I Love Lucy and Andy Griffith.
Oh, they go back. How do you feel about Nicole Kidman playing Lucy?
Remains to be seen, only because I don't believe she was the first choice, and
It was originally supposed to be Kate Blanchett.
Right, who I believe they did a makeup test for, and she looked incredible. Like, I think they even did some minor prosthetic stuff. I think the project sounds really interesting.
Mhm.
I am in favor anytime something like this gets done, because this is kind of like what I want to do, is kind of bring some old Hollywood back. So,
We'll talk about your play.
yes, I'm just curious. I know there's going to be an interesting take here.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that's
it's not, you know, the premise of it, right? What they're doing.
vaguely.
So it's more of a behind the scenes as opposed to like,
Yeah, she doesn't have to be like the funny Lucy
Yeah.
necessarily. She just has to, yeah. And we have in Lucille Ball, we have this great like mega producer and hit maker. And so I mean, she's responsible for the success of the original Star Trek. And so like,
yeah.
woman is a badass. And that's I want to see more of that. And it
And
sounds
you
like
had
that's what
Emily Skinner play her in the Cher Show,
right, that's right.
who is also just like an awesome person anyway.
Yes.
Anyway, so David, let's start. Where are you from?
Born and raised in Fairbanks, Alaska. And then
Did you see Russia from your house? I'm sorry, I had to. It was
when I graduated college in 2008, and that was of course the year that John McCain picked Sarah Palin as his running mate. And so every audition room I went into when I moved here was like, I got that question, and then was weirdly held responsible for her. They're like,
oh no.
what did you do? And I was like, first of all, nothing. Second of all, this is not my fault. And it was just I don't know.
That why you didn't get cast in anything as soon as you got out of I'm just joking.
They got asked every audition room for a long
Did they ask you that at One Life to Live and that's why they cast you as such a horrible person?
They did not, but that I think by then it had worn off and Obama had been elected. So thank God. Yeah, definitely not a Sarah Palin person.
I don't think a lot of people in the theater industry are. Or at least like they're here for like Tina Fey's I think she's actually on Cameo.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're on Cameo too, right?
I am. I
But you're requested now, kids. Get a shout out from David.
A thing that asked me that said people are asking about, and that I didn't know that you could do that. So the truth is, I have no shame about this. At the time, financially, I signed on in order to be able to buy more family members Christmas presents that year, and it worked.
Cute.
And, yeah.
I just got people things for $25 or less for Christmas because I'm like, I am unemployed. And also because like I have a niece and my older sister and her husband were like, we don't need gifts, just like get Madison stuff.
I get that.
Yeah, they're like, here are coloring books.
Yeah, here are coloring books. Here's Batman.
Well, she's not into Batman.
That you know of.
Well, they're more of like a Star Wars family, my sister.
Oh,
yeah.
Is she into Rey then?
No, she's only 2.
Oh, I'm like planning this for you. Okay, I'll back off.
Well, I mean, for me, I just want to take her to her first Broadway show.
Right.
Her sister's like, I'm going to, and I was like, I'll come with you.
And take your 2-year-old niece to see Angels in America, or
I'll take her to see A Perfect Crime, which reopened.
That's right. Hey, we should celebrate that theater is.
It's not that show. I'm sorry. I don't mean to bash it at all, but like
I've never seen it, and I don't, to my knowledge, know anyone that has been in it. Although,
don't.
Okay, don't.
I get like physically angry.
Okay.
About that show, like, don't see it.
Okay, this is on the record, so.
No, I am fully aware, and I know that's horrible to say about a show and these people who are working very hard to keep it up, but like, no.
And to anyone who is going back into it post-pandemic, good for you for having a job, right? But also, you're. I guess I need to see it or don't see it, but I have nothing to say because I can't speak on it for that.
Again, when we're out for drinks one day, for like lunch.
Okay.
We'll get margaritas. Okay. It'll be great. We'll get super drunk.
Great.
I will tell you all of that. I like how I'm planning this, and let's see if it actually happens.
We will. Well, I mean, I also haven't been back in New York, and well, I can look this up later. Restaurant capacity, are we good in New York?
I just whatever. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Reservations can be made. You can just sit outside. We can like I have so much wine.
Stocked up or just in general?
Well, I'm not a big drinker.
Okay.
And for many years, I had these like holiday parties in my apartment. And like 10 years ago, I had like a mental breakdown while frosting a cake. And I'm like, I can't supply all the desserts anymore. Like people need to bring stuff. So I tell people to bring food or a drink to share.
Yep.
And people tend to bring wine because they don't feel like baking or making or like bringing dessert. And remember how I told you about like that Oreo pudding thing?
Yes.
Concoction? So that's the party where I've been threatened if I don't make it.
Oh.
So yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's odd though.
where people threaten me if I don't make this like yummy dessert.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it in like a joking form, but it's
Oh no, like they are joking. Like,
but also it makes it sound like it's your ticket, it's your admission. Like you can't come here unless you have
no,
that.
it's mostly like you're not allowed to wear jeans either to my party.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super fancy. I haven't done it in a while because the pandemic and I moved into a smaller apartment.
The pandemic.
I love how this conversation has nothing to do with theater.
we can change.
I told you we get totally sidetracked on this.
We can change.
It's just a conversation of us getting to know each other and being better friends in life. So yeah, anyway, I have a lot of wine because of that. And I always feel like, oh, if I want a glass of wine and I open up a huge bottle of wine, then the wine is just going to sit there because I'm not going to go back and drink the wine.
I get that. I understand.
I mean, I have purchased like tinier bottles of wine that I've drank in an evening and either felt like, hey, I'm feeling good, or I'm like, I don't feel anything. Yeah.
Been there too. Something I've discovered in the Midwest while I've been out here is at Kroger, you can buy bottles of whiskey or any kind
I am a New Yorker, so I'm assuming it's a grocery store.
It's a grocery store and it's a big chain and but when you buy it at this chain, it's always diluted. And I think that must be a rule at this grocery store. So instead of buying a 45% alcohol whiskey, you're buying a 21% alcohol whiskey.
Oh, that's kind of like the wines that they sell at the grocery stores.
Yes. And so I'm pouring myself what is arguably a, 8-finger glass of whiskey, but it's really just like
2.
Yeah, I mean, I'd maybe 3. It's like a nice pour, but it's
even you saying the finger thing means nothing to me because I don't like alcohol. I'm like, what's like a good drink to have at a bar, guys? Oh, what? Like, I want to go to Ireland and Scotland, but I don't drink beer. So what am I going to do at a bar in Ireland?
Whiskey.
Not drink Guinness.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. That is
Yeah, I do want to do like the Guinness tour though.
It sounds fun, and also I've heard it tastes incredibly different over. Actually, wait a minute.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah. I feel like I had something else. Anyway, I was in London for like 72 hours and it was a whirlwind and I don't remember a lot because I was so tired.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were so drunk.
No, not at all. I was there for I got myself into this. I was there. It sounds more impressive than it is. I was just there for a job, for a business.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, no, nothing wrong. But we were there.
It's a theater podcast. We're talking about your life. Like, what were you promoting?
I feel like it was this movie that we had just shot this for Passion Flicks, and so we were there because there was a big romance novel convention that we were asked to go to, and so that's all fine and well and good. But I just was so jet lagged that I don't remember. I wish I had taken more time for myself on the trip.
I was there for 4.5 days.
Yeah,
and it still wasn't enough time. But I got to I will say though, like this is like I love the history of the Tudors. So like the big thing for me was like seeing where Anne Boleyn was beheaded.
Yeah,
I know, super morbid.
That's cool. I like that.
And I wanted to see the globe, and so we actually saw the globe. We took a tour, which was awesome. I was like, I kind of don't want to see a show there because I don't want to stand. Also, like,
right.
I feel like there are certain Shakespeare shows that are done so much, and it's just like I kind of need a breather. Like I can't see another production of Romeo and Juliet.
Sure.
I don't want to see another production of Hamlet, especially the last production of Hamlet I saw, which was 3 hours, and I was suffering through a sinus infection, which I didn't realize was a sinus infection until like the day after. And also it wasn't a good prediction.
Oh, I was just about to ask who the Hamlet was. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's
I
hard.
mean, I mostly went because of who was playing Hamlet. I'm not saying like it wasn't, it just, I didn't like the production.
Can you divulge, or you'd prefer
It
not
was
to?
Peter Sarsgaard.
Oh, he's great. No, he's fantastic.
I
Yeah,
fucking love him.
yeah. He's fantastic.
But I just like the production itself, I didn't really, and it's not to say that like other people didn't like it, because there's a lot of things out, like, you know, my affection for the musical Once. Like, I love Once. I also love Great Comet, but it doesn't mean that, you know, the next person's gonna like it. You know, there's plenty of shows out there that people like that I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, and as we've seen, like shows in New York live and die by the New York Times, and so that's also it's both fortunate and unfortunate. Like it can lift something up that maybe wouldn't get a chance normally, but it can also tear something down that is like actually it's unfair. So
Yeah.
um, I say that to say I think theater criticism is important, but there's a very fine line between criticism and something else, and it should be an art form.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think it's also now that I'm like getting older, and with this job I had before the pandemic,
Motto.
when I was like talking to people about shows, and I also like, I was very, very good at picking out shows for people. And I think it's just like how I told you, I'm like, I'm very good at reading people. Like I was very good at it. I had like a sixth sense for it. And, you know, people are like, oh, I didn't get good reviews. So I'm like, well, you know, that's the reviews. Like I'm telling you, you're going to like the show,
right,
regardless of what the reviews are. And at the end of the day, sometimes the reviews don't matter. It's what people like, you know.
That's commercial theater. I mean, that's yeah. You know, we have friends that are in these shows that I want my friends to be employed. I want them to have a job. And when everybody's worried about opening the newspaper the next day, or let's be honest, nobody really does anymore, looking online, I mean, I've seen things myself that I'm just like, I completely disagree with the review about this, or either in the affirmative or the.
I will say I'm not naming this show.
Okay.
On the podcast.
Okay.
I will tell you after if we remember to do that. I saw a show and I was like, this is not good. But you think it, like there was one point I'm like, oh, it's not gonna get good. Oh no, it's not good. And like I'm sitting there and like the actors, you can tell, are just working their asses off. And I just felt so bad because they're working their asses off and like the show just isn't that good.
I know what you mean. I kind of want to ask questions about it, but I also.
What do you want to ask me? I'm not
Well,
going
I want to ask, like, is it an actor's vehicle? Like, are the, you know, the actors, are they given a lot? Or I see,
it was a musical.
They were compensating for the material, you felt?
No, I just think there was like a lot of like dancing. It was, it wasn't like, you know, it was a jukebox musical.
I see.
So it was a lot of fun though.
Sure.
I can't tell you more because then I'll give it away.
Oh, I understand. And you know.
Not Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia is super fun. And we already know how I was like, everybody loves it.
It is.
I did clean my wedding singer shirt. So like if and when Amy comes on, I'll wear it.
Oh, you really should. And do you have a mug? Oh my God, do you have like a wedding singer mug or a Reds mug or a Rock of Ages?
Nope. I did get like super sick after I saw Rock of Ages though.
Oh.
I don't know if it was like food poisoning or alcohol poisoning or like a mixture of both, but there was, you know, their Jello shots were had, tube shots, like at fish tacos, but like it just wasn't a good combination. And like this girl who I used to be friends with, like she took me as a birthday gift. I wore a Madonna shirt though.
Okay,
I was like very into it, but I got like super sick the next day. Not because of the show. I don't know what it was, but I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Do you have does it make you, when you think of Rock of Ages, does it make you think, oh God, I'm not Rock of Ages, because that's what you associate with being sick? Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you know how you guys the other day were talking about the Scottsboro Boys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I didn't see it.
Okay. Okay.
But the time around the Tonys, I ended up getting a really bad dental infection. So much so that my entire face blew up like a chipmunk.
Oh no.
And I would wake up in the middle of the night in so much pain, icing my face.
Yeah.
And that one song they performed on the Tony Awards, "Come and Sing in Chattanooga,"
Sure.
was stuck on repeat in my head. So
Oh, I see.
anytime
Yeah.
anybody ever
Yeah.
mentions the Scottsboro Boys, I'm always brought back to that time of
I
when my
understand.
entire face was blown up like a chipmunk.
I
And
understand.
yeah, and I did merch at Arcadia at that time. And I was like working the closing performance. So I was like trying to cover my face with my hair in a hat, and I couldn't even eat soup, and it was like dribbling down.
Oh,
So to
no.
this day, like the head usher or like ticket taker and the of that theater and this headset person, her name is Beth, who is just wonderful. They still talk about it if it's like brought up. They're like, "Oh, I remember." And it was just dribbling down your mouth, the soup.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
No, that stuff stays with you.
I know every time somebody mentions the Scottsboro Boys, I'm
Yeah.
always remembered of that time in my life.
My now wife, at the time we were dating, we took a class at HB Studios with Austin Pendleton was the teacher, who I idolized and was excited to be in his class. And so, he's like, "Okay, you guys are gonna break off and pick a scene partner and pick a scene. Just let me know what it is before you decide."
I think he directed that Hamlet I saw.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I know what you're. Okay. So he goes to me and my wife, and he says, "What are you guys gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm thinking Venus and Fur." And he's like, "Great, good choice." And we come in the next week with our scene ready to go, and we do the scene. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about this, because when I saw this on opening night, I think I don't want to misquote him, but he's like, I ended up having a severe panic attack, and I'm sitting on the front row, so I can't really leave. So I'm just like in my chair, like having this terrible time." So he's like, whenever I see a scene from the show, that's what I think of. And he's like, basically, he's like, "I don't really know what to tell you how to fix the scene." And I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, "Well, we wouldn't have done it." But he did say, he was like, "Go ahead." And then we worked on it for a week. And then but he said he could no longer see the show for what it was, because, and it is a good show, but he did not have a good experience, much like yourself.
And Hamlet?
Well, I was going to say specifically, now that every time you hear that song from Scottsboro Boys, you're going to have.
Well, I just like, I had a thing with a guy who was in South Pacific, but that hasn't stopped me from enjoying
I
it.
see.
Who did the tour? Doesn't remember me, which is like super great for my ego. It was like years ago. It's fine.
Sounds like a podcast guest. I'm just kidding. Oh, okay. Oh boy. Just gonna keep digging my hole here, and
It's fine. I started it for you. So like now that we like super sidetracked, I told you it happens.
It happens.
Where did your love of theater come from? Especially in Alaska.
Yeah, first of all, there's great theater up there, and
Okay.
and there was a lot of opportunity for me to get involved up there. And like, I danced ballet growing up, and I got into that sort of backwards because I thought,
Are you saying you're a triple threat that you can also dance?
there was a time where I think that's what I was. Certainly not anymore, but
Dancer or singer, you mean?
I'd put dancer first, and then actor, and then singer after that. And that wasn't for lack of trying. I have a music degree because of the program I went, was singer heavy. But my mom took me to this, what I remember being a production of Mother Courage and Her Children, and I was really young, but I remember being like, "Oh, I didn't know that this could happen." Like, it was so real to me. It was so good. And I don't ever remember a time where I didn't want to do this. I doing it for a living didn't compute, because I was in Alaska and I was so far away from everything else. But there was so much opportunity to be had, and I've actually made it like a point during this pandemic. I'm a little behind on it at the moment, but to write those people who gave me those chances, because they changed my life, and probably wouldn't have gotten those chances if I was in like a bigger city. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't mean I was terrible, but
No, I understand.
also maybe had a lot to learn.
I have a friend of mine from college who, like, years ago, she moved to Austin, and she goes, she wants to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, as opposed to like,
I get that. Sure.
But now she lives in Baltimore with her husband, and they own a magic bar.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said a magic bar, and I was like,
no, they do. He's a magician.
Oh, I thought you said a matcha bar.
Oh, wait. That too. No, I'm just joking.
Here's a drink. Also, here's a dough. A dough.
Hold on. Ooh.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah. And she's like, she does her own stuff with magic, and it's really cool.
That is
She hasn't
cool.
given me like any secrets of how they do things, but years ago, she like using her mind folded a fork in front of me, and I was like, what?
Oh,
How do you
wow.
do it? And she didn't tell me.
Oh, wow. Should have her on the podcast.
Maybe
Maybe.
I could text her about it.
Whoever you are, whatever your name is, come on the show. I don't know.
Come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what were you like, what's English? What was like the first role that you got cast in?
Um, uh, okay, as soon as I say the short version of the story,
That's gonna be your new expression, the short version. 20 hours later, here we
I
go.
went to this, I wanted to be an actor so bad, and I went to these auditions for this show called The House at Pooh Corner, which is just, from what I understand, another adaptation of an A.A. Milne story, but it has all the characters in it, right?
Mhm.
And I believe was thinking, oh, I can audition to be Piglet because I'm 7 years old, I'm very small, and I had a slight stutter, which is not really here nor there, but sitting in the, auditioning in a theater and sitting in the chairs with my older brother who's 11 and my dad, who was like my champion about this, and he's like, you get up there and you make that, use the stutter, like, this whole thing. And so I sit down, it did not go very well, and they asked my older brother, do you want to audition? And of course he lands the role of Christopher Robin, and I don't get cast at all. So I learned very quickly that
I know that feeling.
if you're gonna, weirdly enough, it didn't make me not want to do it anymore. It just made me want to do it somewhere else. So I kept auditioning until somebody gave me a part. And the next time I auditioned was for A Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and wanted to be one of the 4 kids, didn't get it, but they were like, you can be the dwarf. And so I did my like Harvey Firestein voice, and I got the part. And
oh my God, can you do it now?
I talk like this, like 8 years old, and was like, had a whip and everything. And so, and still to this day, got some of the best reviews.
Sorry, that's a little
like a cool whip.
A cool whip. Oh, that's Donald Duck. Sorry.
I do think that I did some severe vocal damage as an 8-year-old, because I've had difficulty with my voice ever since, and that can only be what I think it might have been. But I was so bitten by this bug so thoroughly that I loved it.
Did you do it throughout high school as well?
Oh yeah.
Did you like the musicals and the plays, or?
Yeah, I didn't do so many plays in high school. It was mostly musicals. Again, some roles I should never have been cast in because
Oh my God, please tell me.
I did a Grease. I think most people do, but I was not only Duty, but I was also the teen angel, and
Interesting.
should not have been both. I think they were thinking, well, the connection to Frenchie is the same, but like,
it's very like abstract for like a high school production.
Yeah, I mean, meaning like, somebody else could have done one of those roles. I also couldn't sing Duty to save my life. It was when the joke I had with my dad was like, while I'm singing those magic changes are happening to my body. Like I was going through puberty in the middle. It was bad. Anyway, but
you should actually like put that on social media.
My mom is going through home videos right now, and she recently sent me the clip, and it is, I thought, oh, this would be cute, Flashback Friday or whatever. And then I was like, actually, it's horrendous.
One of my other best friends, she and her husband are moving, and being the Jewish mother that I am, I was like, you need to like start cleaning out your apartment, like little by little. Also, her mother told her this. And so the other day she actually like messaged me like 3 videos from like my 19th birthday dinner. And I was like, wow, I clearly have not changed. It'll probably end up on Instagram like at some point.
I look forward to it. I have a lot of sympathy for that, because there's times where I'm like,
oh no, I'm like fully here for it. It's
oh,
like,
good. Okay, good. Because
what is there to be embarrassed by?
That's the thing. Is like, I mean, I began college very awkward and gawky person, and so like that's not gone. But people think it is because the facade changed, or because and I did that on purpose to get different parts. But at the same time,
we're gonna get into that.
You can't take that out of that person. Like I will always be that. So
It's funny too, because like years ago, God, probably 10 years ago, I was in my old apartment and this girl who was like one of my best friends in high school, like she just like came into the city and we hung out. I haven't spoken to her since. And she's like, you really haven't changed much since high school. I was like, I know. I just got more like bitter and cynical, but more awesome.
I love that. Actually,
Yeah.
bitter and cynical isn't bad, especially if it's like, well, I see things for what they are. I don't know. I think that's a
Yeah.
superpower.
I think it's also like an optimistic realist thing.
Yeah, I get that
For
for
sure.
sure. Yeah,
You know?
I totally get that.
So let's talk about your college experience.
Hmm.
Where did you go? How many colleges you audition for? What made you decide to go there? You look like you don't want to talk about
No, I do. I
you
just,
applied for.
I understand looking back on it how, I want to say how accidental it all was, but I know it was super privileged also.
I'll
Like,
make you feel really good. Okay, ready?
okay.
I didn't tell my parents didn't like I wanted to be an actor until like I was accepted into the college I went to.
Mhm.
And so then I ended up like auditioning and then I got into the program. So I get it.
Okay.
Mhm. I didn't get into the program I auditioned for, but I still got into the theater program.
Yeah, you know, I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
I went to Interlochen for a summer program in right before my senior year of high school.
Mhm.
So that was the first time I'd really left Alaska to go somewhere else and sort of see if I, you know, how this works in an area that's not my home.
Mhm.
And so we were kids from all over the country at this program, and it went really well for me at the time. And that was talking to one of my teachers there. That was the moment where I was like, maybe I can do this for a living. I'd not really thought of it in those terms.
Mhm.
And I think the full disclosure of this is that I was in this like long-term relationship in high school that I thought, oh, at least where I'm from, it's like well, you get married right out of high school and you have children and that's just what you do. And so I distinctly remember in like February of my senior year waking up and going, I can't do that. I have to go see
Mhm.
if that's what this is. And that meant like, oh shit, we got to audition for schools. We got to, there was not a lot of options at that point. So um, one of my friends that I met at Interlochen in Michigan told me about this school in Ohio, Baldwin Wallace, now university, and they're a great musical theater program. And so I got in by the skin of my teeth. My friend's mom talked to Vicky Bussard, who's the program head, and was like, I know you're full for this audition period, but you should see this kid. And again, I recognize in hindsight just what a fluke that is and how absolutely impossible that would be in some of today's situations. And it was the only school I auditioned for, not because I was like, oh, this is all I want, but because the realization of needing to do this was so last minute. Because I thought I was going to do the news, the local news in Alaska, and have children and be married. Like I just was like, this is just what you do. And
Mhm.
I remember really thinking, I'm going to regret this. And it was still to this day, probably the best decision I made for myself, but it was the most difficult because I was such a homebody. I thought, I like it up here. This is all I want. And tearing myself away from that was like a very weird experience. And yeah, so I got in and
Mhm.
um, looking back at it, I'm like, so many things should not have happened that did. And I recognize how people were looking out for me that I was not aware of how rare and rich that is until after the fact. So it's part of my quest to make sure that people know how grateful I am for those things because you never know.
This is very true. Do you remember what you auditioned with?
Yes, I sang stars from Les Miserables. I also had a very deep voice and was like playing older than myself. I didn't know what it was like to play my age until
Mhm.
really after college. I think stars from Les Miserables and I think something from Big River, and then did a monologue from Big River, which is a musical about Huckleberry Finn, and was told you don't
I
do
know what Big
monologue.
River is. Thank
Well,
you.
I say that for people because anybody that's listening that doesn't know, I did a monologue from a musical, and I guess that was taboo, and so
I remember when I was a freshman, somebody did a monologue from Chicago, the musical,
mm,
in a
mhm,
class.
mhm, mhm.
I don't remember what monologue I auditioned for, but I do remember the songs. So there's that.
I think I had to do. She let me do 3 of them because she was like, "Well, you've come this far." And at the time, I think there was another girl in the program from England, but I did my third, which was uh, make him laugh from Singing in the Rain, which I had just done. And
Did you also do like a huge tap number as well with
I
it?
didn't, but I had I don't know, some razzmatazz.
So I'm sure if we ever do like a cabaret, you can just.
You know, it's weird. It's like, because when I don't mean to jump ahead, but when I got on the soap, like little things when I was an actor coming out of musical theater world, people would be like, "Oh, I can tell you're a dancer," and so I actively worked on changing my body, the way I moved, and certain things like. So I made a hard right and like ran from that for a little while just to see if I could, fool people into. And then I've gone so far that people are like, "You used to dance," and so.
Oh my God, can you teach me a time step? No,
I
seriously.
absolutely can.
Okay,
Absolutely can.
I'm going to promise you, you will not be able to teach me one because I've had like, I used to work at a dance studio. I've had 9 lives with jobs. I had like 5-year-olds try and teach me how to do a time step, and my body like physically cannot learn how to do one. So like, it'll be fun to teach me.
So this is the way I was taught by this. This sounds stupid, but for liability reasons, they have to do this on television shows. I was taught by this stuntman how to get on a motorcycle and make it look like I rode, right? And so he approached me and said, "So what are you? Are you a martial artist? Are you a dancer? What's your background physically? Are you a sports guy?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a dancer." And so he taught me how to do that based on my background as a dancer so he spoke to me using my language, and I really appreciate that. And so ever since then, when I'm asked to teach, I usually go to the person individually. It's harder in a
Well, no, we talked about that because I
Yeah.
told you like stalking people on like the internet to see whether or not they're good
Yes.
for a role. And then you
Yes.
said, I had this student and I found out he liked jazz from his Instagram.
And so then I approached him using that, and then his tapes were
That's why I
incredible.
said to that one actor in Next Fall who was mad about his name, and I said, use that for the show.
Right. Yeah. Oh, billing.
That was actually my fault. I totally spelled that person wrong, but whoops a doozle. Do you remember your first Broadway show?
Yes, it was 2001, March of 2001. I saw Reba McEntire and Annie Get Your Gun, and she was
I'm
phenomenal.
gonna make you jealous. I saw Brenda Peters.
Oh, but see, okay, they're both good. But like,
I also was young in my youth. Well, my first Broadway show, I was 5.
oh, okay.
And so, and I'm also from Long Island. So
Sure.
like I actually have a list of every single show I've seen. So I've seen in my lifetime over 100. And I don't keep a list of off Broadway, but it's, it's not that much compared. But
Sure.
yeah, no, I just remember my dad got tickets and he like Berna Peters wasn't going to be in the show. I don't remember if it was like Susan Lucci who was there for a period.
There for a while, yeah.
Yeah, or like somebody, but my dad's like, we're not going to go see her. So he like waited for Berna Peters to be back in the show because I think she was like taking a break or something. And then we saw Berna Peters, and I also make a lot of people jealous over the fact that I saw Julie Andrews on Broadway and Victor Victoria.
Oh my God.
I know.
She's just so spectacular.
She walked by me once at the Glass Menagerie.
Which Glass Menagerie?
The, oh
Sex
my
Education?
God, John Tiffany version.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the one with Cherry Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was, you remember that scene in Wayne's World where he sees Cassandra for the first time?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what it was like for me when I saw her walk by me. And like, there were actual people trying to get my attention. And I was like, what?
I mean, there are people that have a present. For me, it's also her speaking voice is so luscious and yeah, she's.
Oh, then you must have totally enjoyed her as Lazy Whistleton and what's her face and Bridget.
I went on this kick recently because her and her daughter released a book. Am I making this up?
They have like a couple of books out, children's books.
There was a new one that had come out, and they were sort of doing what is essentially the podcast circuit, and they were, and I could just listen to her talk all the time. And she's also so gracious. And hearing her talk about therapy before it was like in vogue, I guess she was like, "Oh no, I've been seeing a therapist for like 40 years," and I was just like, "This woman, that's why." She's like, "Oh, people don't think I get angry. I get angry, but I just deal with it the way you're supposed to." So,
I've said for a while I need to see a therapist, and I've had some people be like, "You don't need a therapist. You can talk to me." I was like, "No, I can. You're kind of the reason I need to go."
Just my soapbox. There's so much power in talking to someone who has no stakes in the outcome.
Yeah,
and who's able to
100%.
Really,
I agree. I mean, now that I have a job, I don't feel as much as I need it.
I get that.
But yeah, like I think going to therapy is great because, you just need to talk to somebody and, there are certain things you can't talk to certain people in your life about.
I always thought, even before I was married, oh, this person can hold this for me and hold space for me or whatever. And it's not fair to ask her to be that for me all the time because she's going through her own shit. And that's just what I thought. And I had no idea. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at this or anything, but um, I had been singing the praises of my therapist for a very long time. And it has, I had a session yesterday and I was like, I don't really know what to talk about because I think everything we've been working on lately, like this has been a good week. Like I'm having a good week and I don't have these issues because I'm learning to see them for what they are. And
Yeah.
it also makes you a more, especially for people in this industry, I think it makes us, you have to know what makes you tick in order to, I mean, you can't play an emotion you've never felt. So it's
Yeah.
important to take stock, I think.
Mhm.
That is my soapbox.
Does it also like get you out of your head more of like your balls flying in the air?
Got to keep the balls in the air. Well, this is okay. So this comes from
Mhm.
me saying, in a reading, I'm trying to not speed through it, but I'm trying to keep the balls in the air. Is
Listen, get it?
it's
We talked about it.
I know, but I feel the need to, since it was brought up for
Mhm.
your audience to explain, like, especially as a writer now, like nothing kills a two-hander quicker than people dropping the pace. And so, as soon as those two people come out on stage, they're at war with the audience's boredom. And I want to make sure that we're going to get slow later. So let's earn those moments by cooking through this first. Yeah. Anyway,
I think it's also if I felt like it was going to get slow, I would have told you, which I
I
think I
know,
didn't tell you.
and you're very good at that. And
You just like praise me more, David. It's fine.
Laura has also structured the play that
Oh my God. So
cooks.
lovely, by the way.
Yes, so great. We
Oh
can
my
sing her
God.
praises. Um, this is Laura Eason, the author. Eason? Did I just say it right?
I never say it correctly, so it's fine. No, it's not fine,
The
but
author of Sex with
it's fine.
Strangers, and
Yeah,
also like a boss in the television world, which
in film.
she's so modest. Yeah, and she's so great.
Yeah. And I heard
And
he's very talented too. I
very
saw him in
talented.
the Scottish play with
Yes,
Corey
with Corey
Stoll.
Stoll and his wife. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, sorry, he's so sexy, Corey
Corey
Stoll.
Stoll. I completely
Oh
agree.
my God.
Completely agree. I saw him in the Park du Iago in Othello. And,
I did not, but I saw him in Julius Caesar,
uh-huh,
like the
uh-huh.
production where people were like,
Yes.
ooh.
Yes.
I have to tell you, I was also very tired. Again, I'm always tired. But like when the protests happened, I was
Yep.
just like, oh, why is this happening right now in this show? But they were planted there,
Right.
the protesters.
Yes.
He's so good.
Who
He's
was
so
he
sexy.
Brutus in that production or was he Mark Antony?
He was Brutus. Mark Anthony was played by Elizabeth Marvel.
Oh,
She was
cool.
fucking
Oh,
incredible. That
cool.
whole production was really good. Although I will say my favorite production I've ever seen in the park, which ironically were the best seats I ever had. They were like dead center, like fifth row, was, oh no, I can't remember it. Shit.
You were talking about Elizabeth Marvel.
No, it had
And then
Raul Esparza, it had Coriolanus? Was it?
could be.
Raul Esparza,
Simon of Athens.
Hamish Linklater, Kate Burton.
Wow, that cast too. Wow.
Yeah, and like Raul Esparza had like a bluesy Vegas type of number.
Wow.
I
He's,
mean,
he's fantastic.
yeah, I've seen some good and not so great stuff in the park, but
Corey Stoll is I mean, he's the sexiest bald man working in the industry.
I know he should have gotten sexiest bald man. Sorry, Prince William. Really.
It's to appease the ego.
Sorry, Jason Statham.
And with all due respect to my other favorite bald man, Patrick Stewart,
and Stanley Tucci.
And Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci's like, he's a different kind of sexy.
Different kind. But I turned on his CNN show and just hearing him talk about food, I was just like, wait, why am I? It's like weirdly ASMR-y, and you're just kind of like staring
that's what we should do. We should do an ASMR version of Sex with Strangers.
I mean, it's kind of already there. I mean,
yeah.
Although you could do weird sounds like drinking, and I don't know. There's that's a
Well,
dark.
I know. Well, you do love a prop, so I'm sure you can. Yeah, I'm fully aware you love a prop, and I kept saying that to you in rehearsal. I enjoy props. I weirdly love props and costumes.
Yeah, business.
Yeah,
Stage
I love
business.
it.
I mean, provided it's motivated and it's the right thing to do, and
Mhm.
an actor making a meal out of it for no reason is really annoying. But when it's time, it's so great. It's so great.
Yeah. So what happens after college?
I moved to New York right away, and had my survival
Did you
jobs.
guys do some sort of showcase to
We
get?
did. I'm sorry, we did, and I got an agent through that, and my first, I'd say, couple weeks out, I was in final callbacks. It was me and another gentleman for a replacement in Chicago, the musical,
Mhm.
and I
And
remember
what
thinking
role?
this was to replace a featured ensemble. I don't remember what track it was, but
Mhm.
um, what ended up getting me in trouble, and this is sort of, we get the jobs we're supposed to get, and I would go in with my stuff, and then they'd say, I'd get down to the wire, and then they'd be like, "Do you have anything you can sing that's higher?" And I don't, and that's not me. And the same thing happened in Mamma Mia, and it ended up happening with the Pippin
Oh my
revival.
God, did you audition as Sky?
I think it was going to be a Sky understudy. It was to replace somebody again in the ensemble, and
Let me talk to you about, okay, because like you like to stay in shape.
try.
Okay,
It's difficult, but
okay. Okay, I'm not gonna name a name, but there is a particular actor who played Sky.
mhm.
And during that lay all your love on me moment where they would like strip off his shirt, there was one of three reactions that would happen. Wooing,
Uh-huh.
laughter,
Uh-huh.
or both.
Oh,
And us in the merch company, in our little merch office, we nicknamed him Cheese Abs because like our joke was, oh, he's so ripped you can like grate cheese on
great
him.
piece. Okay, I was going to say this is a positive thing. It's not that they were
Yeah,
laughing.
it's like a hilarious
Sure.
positive thing. So much so that like Broadway.com was like, let's do like a whole workout segment of him in the gym and we'll interview him in the gym.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I mean, but that's also par for the course. Like that's
Mhm.
part of doing that role, and so it's
I
necessary.
mean, I've seen other skies, but nothing looked like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blessed.
Yeah. It was it was very enjoyable to hear the reactions of the audience every night. And then just hear the bass shake the merch room in the Winter Garden Theater.
Oh yeah.
The winner takes it all for like the last note.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Fun times.
Fun times. I love these merch stories.
So
I see everything.
the what? The merch stories?
When you're working merch, or you're working, like I have a friend who's an usher, like they see everything, right? And
That's why
sometimes.
I told you guys, like, be nice to the little people.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, first of all, just be nice in general.
Yes.
So when an actor's like told to be nice to people, first of all, fuck that. Because no offense, because
No offense taken.
well, good. But I just feel like when if you have to be told to be nice, oh, the house manager, because you're like the actor, and it's like, actually, no, we're all here to do a job, and we're all doing our, I don't know.
Mhm.
I have very little patience for people that aren't nice. Like I cannot stand if someone's rude at a restaurant. It doesn't matter, if you.
And even like if I catch myself being like rude or an a-hole, I'm like, oh crap, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I know I'm an asshole, but like I'm not a mean one.
I had a guy when I was working. Sorry, I'm going off topic, but when I was working in this restaurant, this guy came
You
up to me.
literally have been doing that this entire time.
This guy came up to me after his meal. He's like, "Hey, I was an asshole when I came in here. My wife told me, I was out of line, and I need to apologize. I was just hungry." And I was like, "I get it, dude. Like, we're a busy restaurant. And you came in starving, and we didn't get you your food fast. I
To be
understand.
like, you should just tip me better.
You tip me better. Yeah."
That's right.
Anyway, sorry, I got off topic.
We tend to. I told you it happens.
There was a time coming
Mhm.
into New York where I was like, okay, this is where my niche is. This is what I'm going to do, and that was not to be. And at the time, I also was like, oh, I've been working on my voice as much as I can, but also some of the roles I did in college in straight plays required a lot more from my speaking voice, so I was usually vocally fatigued a lot. And long story short is, I never really felt super comfortable as a singer. I always felt like I had to compensate in some way, and so um,
Do you still
yeah,
feel that way?
yeah, I do. It's mostly because, like, I've been chasing what gives me joy, and I've never had to think harder
Mm-hmm.
than when I'm singing.
Mm-hmm.
Dancing always came very naturally to me, but the only thing that got in my way there was my flexibility. I have a very tight lower back and tight hamstrings, and so um,
You have to stretch.
yes. But what I started to realize during this transition period was um, that the only thing holding me back as an actor was here,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I could do something about. Whereas I couldn't do something about not being flexible, and I couldn't do something about not having a high A flat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and once I realized that, I started to focus in on that, and that's when things started to lead to the jobs that I ended up getting that kind of decide, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this is what you're gonna do. And I
So what was kind of like, I don't want to say like your big break, but like what was after your realization of that, what was the first role you booked?
it sort of happened simultaneously to that. So I was called back for this off-Broadway play called Back Back Back, playing a Major League Baseball player who was going
Oh,
right.
is that the one of the things you sent me?
Inamar Moses, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's such a good play, and it's so well written. And I remember the day I was supposed to go to the callback, I got a phone call from my commercial agent saying I'd booked this commercial and I had to fly out to Toronto that day. And I remember calling my agent going, I want to do the play. And they was like, there's no play. You have to go to the callback and you have to get the job. So you
Mhm.
right now have to take the job you just got, which is the
Yeah.
commercial. And just great. Okay. But so the commercial was this it's still on YouTube. It's this romance novel hero who rides around on a horse handing
I
out
saw it, you posted it on Instagram.
Sebastian. Yeah. So he
I feel like you're very like, I don't, when it comes to talking about like you playing those parts where you have to be like topless,
Mhm.
you're very like,
I get weird about it only because people weirdly get very possessive about you when you're vulnerable in front of them. And
Mhm.
vulnerability can be, oh, we saw a piece of your humanity, or it can be, we saw your body.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm very careful and sort of picky about what I will go into various stages of undress for now,
Mhm.
because I'm also like going to be 36, and it's a lot more to keep up with than it was when I was 26.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it is work. Like I had a friend going, oh, it must be so hard. And I was like, it is, it's fucking work.
Yeah.
And my whole fear was, what if I don't look like that? Are you going to, because I didn't look like that in college.
Mhm.
And then when I changed, people started treating me differently and giving me more opportunities. And as lovely as that was, when I got cast on the soap, I didn't know how to be that guy. I didn't know how to be anybody's idealistic version of whatever, because
Mhm.
I'm weird. I'm quirkier than that. And so
We're theater folk. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Um, I definitely learned how to own it and to lean into it, but
Mhm.
I think that there's a part of me that is looking forward to when that's not going to be the reason why I get a job, so
Mhm.
that the parts will be more interesting. For instance, I loved doing Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike, and
Mhm.
it is a great part, and Billy knocked it out of the park when
Mhm.
he did it on Broadway. But if you were to ask him, I'm sure, and anybody else that's played the part, would you want to play these kinds of roles for the next 10 years? The answer's probably gonna be like, maybe not.
Yeah.
You know, the variety's the spice of life. So I don't mind playing dumb, but I don't want to only play dumb. Wow, I really went on a tangent with that, but that's what that is essentially.
That's, it was a question and I asked it. So,
I just didn't feel like when I got that commercial, I was like, I saw the other guys that they were seeing, and I was like, when I got hired, I was like, I don't feel like I'm enough for you.
mhm.
I mean, I still got the job, and you know, you have to kind of settle the score with yourself on,
Mhm.
if I'm in the room, it's because I deserve to be in the room, but it takes a while, and it doesn't just come.
You know
So
what? It's kind of weird because like with the job I have now, I one of my last days in the office, because I was trained in the office for 2 weeks and then I'm now working from home, which I prefer so much.
mhm.
I was sitting across from somebody who's getting trained as like a care navigator, and she was just like on top of her shit.
Hmm.
And I was like, I feel like when they hired us, they were just like, all right, here's the job, you're on it. And I kind of felt like that a little bit with my job too. So I understand it. So you kind of
Yeah.
have to like fake it until you kind of get it.
You do. And I know that's an actor's prerogative in the first place.
Sorry, I cough. That doesn't mean that we're ready for you. It's like, how many inside jokes can I do? Like,
This is good. This is good.
Thank
You know,
you.
I'm sorry. I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but I just
David, again, I told you it happens in this podcast. It's fine.
I feel the need to be clear. Like, it's not that I was resistant to these things or that I didn't want to do these things. I didn't know how to handle them. And there was a lot of attention that I didn't understand or feel like I deserved. And yeah. So
I mean, that also can come with like the persona of being like a guy who looks like that. You know what I mean?
a friend of mine, so I had two actors that played my brothers on the soap, and
Mhm.
I've gotten very close with their partners, and we've all stayed in touch. And one of my friends, his wife, was like, "Well, you guys have douchebag faces, and that's what it is." And so, like, you know, I'm a big fan of like the epics, like The Robe with Richard Burton, and Victor Mature would always be like, "Oh, I have a biblical face." Like, he'd make fun of it. He's like, I know how to do the thing that makes people go, "Oh my God, it's so biblical." And so we have douchebag faces, and I understand that, but I also, like, of the group of the three of us, I was the one that was like, well, clearly these men are more good looking than me, and so what am I doing here at this imposter syndrome? And I think just age has taken care of that. Now I feel like I've earned the respect, but
Of the douchebag face.
well, just of getting that work, because like,
Yeah.
you know, like the play Sex with Strangers or Vanya and Sonia, you may have to look like a douchebag, but you still got to be a decent actor. And so
Yeah.
it's such a privilege to do those projects that you want to make sure you're also good enough to.
And also next fall.
Yeah, very much so.
Mhm.
Very much so.
Yeah, you're welcome for that one.
Thank you for that one. That's been on my bucket list for a long time.
Yeah.
And this is also another conversation, but I've, you know, in as much as I have taken a step back to go, do I deserve these things, you know, as a person?
Mhm.
There are also times where I also feel the need to step back because, well, I'm not a gay actor and I am taking on this role and
Mhm.
these things. I actually asked the artistic director down in New Orleans before I went to go do Joe. I was like, if you need to cast an actor who's out, I totally understand. And that was part of the conversation. I get it.
In my head, I was like, let me like, and then like, we're not getting into it.
Sure. But it is discussed and it is something. And
yeah,
so
absolutely.
I feel like it is incumbent upon me as the straight guy to be like, hey, I just want to make sure that, you know, we have this conversation, you know, maybe you've made your decision and discussed it, but like, I see it's not the first time I've auditioned for Joe Pitt. And so there's been times where I'm like sitting in the waiting room going, I really want this job. But I understand if I don't get this job, if that's part of and I know casting can't ask that question, but in this era of social media, it's very easy to find that out. And I will say this, the writing for the characters who are gay that I've played is in general, it's got more meat on its bones. You know what I'm saying? And this is no disrespect to these other straight roles, but I don't know. I think that kind of sums it up, I
was like, how do we transition? So let's talk about what, you know, the two people who are actually going to listen to this podcast want to know. Talk about One Life to Live, which I fully admitted to you, I did not watch. I watched All My Children.
Sure. You made your choice. That's fine.
Yeah. And then I literally was like, if I miss an entire week or a month of the show, literally just
you're good.
Here's the funny thing though. So the character Greenlee was in a cave with another actor. They were stuck in there. And then when they get out of the cave, like the next episode, it's a brand new actress playing Greenlee. And I said to and it was the original person who played Greenlee. And I said to myself, how bad for that actor who had to do all of this acting in a cave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't even like continue with the role.
There's I mean, first and foremost on that, I know I got lucky because I got to originate something. I didn't have to replace anybody, and I would have if that was the case. But I got asked to come in
It's for like a few episodes, right?
for a few episodes, and again, not something I thought I was going to get. I mean, I really wanted to get it, obviously, but I remember the reason why I felt confident going in is because I had just gone in for this movie and had been told in the room that I was going to get the job. And so that armed with that confidence, I was like, oh, okay, then. And, of course, you go into a room that you're like, I'm good because even if this doesn't work out, I got this other job. Well, it worked out. But first and foremost, getting that job, knowing that that would change the life that I had at the time, like I'd be able to buy more groceries and pay my rent on time and all these things that were difficult.
Mhm.
It just, I've never been more grateful in my entire life. So I knew it was going to be a couple episodes over the summer, and then I didn't hear from them for a month, and then they asked me to sign a contract and come back for what at the time was a year, and then I signed for another year after that. So that's where I learned how to be. Talk about like having a screen persona, and that's having a personality that translates to the screen and being able to say lines. When someone's like, "Oh, they're not acting; they're just being themselves." That's actually a skill,
Yeah.
and that's what I used that time to do, and I learned how to do it. And
Well, a lot of like big name actors
mhm,
started on, so I mean, like Josh Duhamel was on
mhm.
All My
My
Children.
children, yep.
Mhm.
I remember idolizing him and thinking, you know, naively at the time, I was like, well, whatever happened to him is going to happen to me. Just in the terms of like, you do a soap and then you get another job. That's just what happens. And certainly when he was on and prior, soaps had that kind of springboard effect. And I think I was on the tail end, like the show got canceled while I was on it. And I think there depends on which room you're in and who you're talking to, but sometimes people can be like, well, he's a soap actor, which I
Mhm.
understand. I've been in acting classes where, they're like, we're going to break you of that because you're doing the thing again. And I was like, but I also like, at a certain point, it becomes part of your DNA. And so you're like, this is just me. I'm just acting. I'm not trying to put on a thing.
Yeah.
Um, I remember shooting this independent film, and after the first take, the director comes out and goes, "I love your voice. You have a very strong speaking voice." And it was maybe the worst thing he could have said, because then, of course, the next take, I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And just like, it took a lot of my 20s for me to break myself of these awareness. I went from not knowing how to do any of it to having
Mhm.
an over awareness of it,
Yeah.
uh, and then now I feel like I'm starting to figure out that I'm enough, and it's taken me so long.
That's why therapy is so great.
Yes,
I'm
and
literally sitting here. I'm like, thank God this guy is in therapy.
oh
It's
yeah,
horrible. I'm so sorry.
no, and listen, it was summer of 2019. I remember making it known. My wife and I, we were not married, but at that point we'd been together for 11 years, and I said, I think I really want to get married, and she was like, I will say yes under the condition that you start going to therapy, and it was the best ultimate, because I don't know if I would have really done it at the
Mhm.
time. She was like, with everything that's happening with your dad, and this is a tough business. She's just like, I want to make sure that you're okay. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it lit a fire under my ass, and I
Mhm.
think it's very important. So I will always encourage people to do that.
I agree.
Brought to you.
So what?
Brought to you by BetterHelp.com. I'm just kidding. I just
The more you know. So after One Life to Live is canceled,
Mhm.
what then?
The first thing I did was I enrolled in a playwriting course at HB Studios,
Mhm.
because I had this idea that ended up becoming the play that I'm working on now. To
We're going to talk about that, by the way, because you
Sure.
worked with the dad from Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a lot to say about John. He's fantastic.
Mostly because he was the dad on Dawson's Creek.
Yeah. And he was my dad on the soap. That's how we met.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I just know him as the dad from Dawson's
The
Creek.
dad. He plays dad great. He's a great dad.
Sorry, my
Um,
chapstick fell over.
so I had this idea in enrolling in the class. I was like, I want to become a writer. I want to become a better writer so that I can have a place at the table when maybe I lose my hair or something happens, where people are like, well, we
Yeah.
don't want him to take off his shirt anymore. So what I didn't know was
Or you don't want to take off your shirt anymore.
yeah, actually that's
You
been a
can
part of
have that choice.
it. Right.
Because I read your IMDb, and I don't know if you wrote that yourself, but something was like,
Probably.
tired of taking off his clothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I wanted to, and now I look back on it, I'm realizing it was more to prove to myself that I had more to offer. But I've always wanted to be a writer, and this course certainly helped. But I didn't realize that we were going to be writing 10-minute plays every week rather than working on a larger scale project. So I started writing this other play about Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart in my spare time around that. But
And it's also the reason why I know you like classical film.
oh yes, just it's like in my bloodstream. I feel like the screenwriter that William Holden plays at Sunset Boulevard, who's laying face down in the pool at the beginning of the movie, I'm like,
I saw the musical.
the movie's so great.
Okay, don't hate me because you
No
already
hate.
like you and Amy already like, even though you said it was no judgment about Coffee and Sweeney Todd.
There's no. Well,
I'm
Sweeney Todd.
joking.
I know.
I'm sorry.
But Sweeney Todd is okay. Yeah, I know. I get it.
I
I get
really
it.
wanted to see it when they did it downtown. It was just like, I'm poor.
I get
And I was like, I can't spend that much money, and all of the cheap
it.
tickets were already gone. And I'm like, I can't spend like $300 to see
There
a
is
show.
there is a great DVD of it. The original. It's pretty spectacular.
Oh, do you have it?
No, I don't.
Oh,
Um,
don't tease me.
I think you can rent it. I think you can rent it too.
Yeah.
Angela Lansbury and George Hearn.
Oh, I thought you meant of like the production they did there that somebody like.
Oh no.
bootlegged in
I
my
would love.
shop.
Oh my god, I would love to see that. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Um,
I got bootlegs of stuff. Told you brief encounter somewhere.
yeah. With all due respect to everyone's stage performances, but bootlegs are.
I think now people are a little like,
get
you
it.
know what? Nothing else is happening.
No,
But then, like, I think once theaters reopen, I think actors can be like, put those bootlegs away, kids.
Sure.
Yeah.
agree.
I just found a bootleg of the original cast of The Producers that I want to watch. Mhm.
Oh wow! Like in New York or Chicago?
I think New York.
Oh wow!
You can find it all on YouTube.
Yeah. I just gotta do a dive, I guess. I haven't really.
Do I have to send that to you too?
Sure, why not?
Okay, great.
I'll watch
Anything? Am I gonna make like a list? I already sent you
Please.
something on Instagram.
I would like to see Producers because I did not see that.
I saw, so I also like really love Hunter Foster.
Yeah.
And there was like a joke my freshman year of college with my friend, how like every time I was in like the Times Square Theater District area, I would always see him. And so the joke was like, he's stalking me. So like serendipitously, my mom, my older sister, my younger sister, and I like came into the city, and we got tickets to see The Producers, and I made them stand outside so I can meet Hunter Foster.
Wow.
And like everybody left. He took fucking forever to come out. And my mom's like, you know how long we waited? I think she said, but she also got to meet Donny Osmond, so it was fine.
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, no, that's when he was doing Beauty and the Beast, and they moved the TKTS booth to the Marriott.
Yeah.
I was like,
wow,
and I was just like hanging out. And I was like, Mom, Donny Osmond's there. And she has a pair of binoculars. And every time she takes them out, she goes, you know, my father bought me these when I saw the Osmond brothers in concert. So like every time these binoculars come out, that same story is always said. And she said to him, I saw the Osmond. So there's like a photo of my mom and Donny Osmond, and she's like the happiest person.
Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah, I have a lot of stage door stories. Do you have any stage doors? Did you like theater nerd? Like, well, no, you moved here when you were.
Yeah, okay, so this is.
Did you cry when you met anybody?
I didn't cry.
I fully cried when I met Laura Linney.
Oh, yeah.
The first time I cried, she touched my elbows.
Oh.
And then the second time, literally the only person at the stage door for the one woman show she did, my name is Lucy Barton. And there was an autograph seeker there too, which pissed me off because I'm like, I need my moment with Laura Linney. But he was actually really nice and took photos for me.
For you, yeah.
And like I was because I told you I have a droopy eyelid. So if I'm like super tired or like my eyes like super droop. So the photo of me, I'm like, hey. Yeah.
I don't think I ever.
But when you met the dad from Dawson's Creek, you cried?
Well, here's the thing. When he came on to do this show and I was not aware of his body of work I was not the demographic for Dawson's Creek. I think I just, yeah, it wasn't my thing at the time.
You're not much older than me. How have you not
But
watched Peak on the Creek?
it's like, it wasn't my show.
That's
You know what I
fine.
mean? Just
Well,
wasn't.
you also weren't like a teenage girl, so it's fine.
No. And I certainly have since done the deep dive, and I also knew that he had played the original Flash for CBS in the 90s, but that wasn't really on my radar either, because I think I was like 5 years old. And so
Mhm.
um he of course means a lot to me as a person, and so there's a different relationship there. But
Mhm.
I have, for me, it's like, and we can get into this because the performances that this is a bad musical theater major talking. It's the straight plays that have brought me to those places of like, when I see certain, if I can see someone deliver just words, and sometimes I have an emotional reaction to it, not because it's an emotional scene, but because it's so beautiful.
Mhm.
It's like the perfect
Mhm.
way of, that's it.
I get it's like getting back to like the best things you've seen on stage. Like you kind of have to, I'm not gonna name names in the podcast. But there was one show I did merch at,
Mhm.
and there was this line every night where this actor had to say, "Please don't leave me."
Mm.
And out of all of the times I worked that show, I only ever believed him once.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
And that could have just been me. I mean,
sure,
other people were like, "You're amazing." I'm like, I
sure,
don't like,
sure.
he was fine,
Yeah,
but I get it.
it depends too. Like, yeah, I yeah, I remember seeing I saw Oslo twice, and the last scene is Jefferson Mays comes into the audience and is talking to all of us. And at that particular theater, I think this is the Vivian Beaumont. It's,
Mhm.
you
It's
know,
my
all
favorite
those people
theater.
around.
Although I will say though, there are some seats, if you sit there, not a great view.
Not a great view, but that theater is really spectacular.
Yeah.
And he comes out and he's talking to, and I was just incredibly emotional. And the moment itself isn't emotional, but what he's talking about and his earnestness, I was like, it is so perfect what he's
Mhm.
doing.
Mhm.
And it's the only time I've ever written fan mail in my life was to the cast of that show, not just to him, but to the entire cast, because I think it's an incredibly complex show and it's very difficult to do. And I saw it twice and was just like, I mean, how lucky are we? Like that year, it was also Doll's House Part Two. Like, oh, Indecent was on Broadway that year. Like, there's so many.
It's funny because my Facebook, like the memories,
Mhm.
I saw that show however many years ago today. And I
Mm,
think because I'm Jewish, I definitely had a much different reaction to it than somebody who wouldn't be Jewish.
sure.
And the fact that the actor who was the storyteller, the narrator, wasn't nominated for a
I
Tony
know.
Award is
I
just like, and the fact, but also the director winning
mhm.
at like, I lost my shit. I was so excited, but like, I also have a special place in my heart for Paula Vogel
Me
because the
too.
show I directed my senior year was How I Learned to Drive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that was, I had a very rough senior year of college, as I think I like touched upon a little bit with you before. And just to even direct a show was such a challenge.
Mhm.
And How I Learned to Drive had, and it's so funny because when they announced like it's coming to Broadway, but
Back.
like these people I went to college with were like, we were gonna tag you in this
Oh,
post about it.
oh.
Yeah. So anyway, but like Paula Vogel, the Indecent, it just
She's
killed me. Just
very,
killed me.
very special writer, and
It was a
finally,
beautifully done show and
yeah,
just like that's another
finally,
I got to see with my friend,
yeah.
the free show. So yeah.
I just, there's so much power in the simplicity of that play. Uh, I was warned, not warned, but told, wait the last 2 seconds of the play. And I was like, how, I mean, what can you do to me?
I'm like really getting emotional just
Me
thinking
too.
about it.
And so I saw that, I saw Oslo, I saw Doll's House. I forget what else was nominated that year, but I was like, wow, we're fucking lucky. And the fact that I've been in New York over a decade at this point, I was thinking the first straight play I saw on Broadway was Doubt, and what that it
Did
should
you see the
completely.
original cast or the replacement?
I did, and it completely changed my life. I remember I couldn't even get out of my seat to stand up because I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could do that. I didn't know. First of all, thought Cherry Jones was that age, and then realized later that she was so much younger than the part she was, and this whole thing. But we we are in this time, and like then, sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. Then the Ferryman came out the year after. I was like, we are in this exquisite time.
I Ferryman, everything about, I can't with that. Like one of my dream roles is Caitlin Carney, and I'm working on my Irish accent. I will do it for you when I'm drunk.
Yes.
Just like my Cher impression, which I did a little the other day.
Oh,
or rocket car. See, it comes out. Well, it's funny. Like a year before the panty, my friend and I, one of my best friends and I were out to dinner, and I was having wine. And I started doing Cher. I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm not surprised that you're breaking out your Cher impression. Like,
it's good. It is good. Oh.
I mean, other than Cher, what other impressions can you do?
Oh boy. Well, that goes back to my childhood, is like born into this like comedic body, and I was like just a Jerry Lewis fan, and that's honestly what made me want to start performing. Was I was like, oh, I want to do that, because I did it. It gives you a glimpse. There was a Blockbuster opening in my hometown.
When I was in my youth, my stepdad used to call it B2B. Like, you know how I jokingly say, like, I have no social life, kind of true. But like when I was younger, because my parents were divorced, so it was either like at my dad's house one weekend, or it would be like going to Blockbuster and then Carvel with like my stepdad and little sister.
Yeah.
So that would be my weekends.
Blockbuster was the shit. And
there's still one that exists. Oh, that's right. You have a Blockbuster shirt.
I do. My Blockbuster shirt is from my hometown in Alaska, because they were selling them right before they shut it down. And so from what I gather, we were one of the last.
You should make a pilgrimage to that one remaining Blockbuster.
It's in Bend, Oregon.
You would know that.
I would know that. From what I understand, it's in Bend, Oregon.
You follow it on Twitter?
I don't follow it on Twitter, but I think the world of it. It was like a magical place. But when it opened in my hometown when I was 8 years old, they had a look-alike contest. So you go and you dress up, and so I won in the comedic division as Jerry Lewis in his Nutty Professor character. Now I only won because nobody was dressed up as a comedic character from anything else. So everybody else was like, there was a Kevin Costner from Dances with Wolves, there was a Joker, but nobody was in the comedic department. So by a landslide. Anyway,
the coolest thing I ever won was a television.
But no, they gave me a calculator. You want a television? I want a calculator.
That's a whole story, actually, but another time. It's not theater related, so we're not talking about it now. Again, when
these things shape you. Like I was like, oh, I could do this, and have always tried to bring some version of Jerry Lewis into my life. And okay, so I have a weird thing of, I will read a memoir by a famous person, and I will immediately think, this happened to me the first 2 years I lived in New York. This happened to me with every single person. I would read their book, want to write them, they would pass away. And
don't read anything about Julie Andrews.
I know. Well, okay, so I read Kirk Douglas's memoir, and he did not die until a decade later. So
okay, good.
But
you're not allowed to read anything. No Julie Andrews.
No Julie Andrews. I have this affinity and this like deep spiritual connection to the golden age of Hollywood. It is like
I'm gonna send you this on Instagram. I also, you can't tell, but I do enjoy fashion. Like I love the Met fashion exhibition. I follow a couple of those things, and there's somebody who has like This Is Hollywood Instagram account, and they also have one about like a fashion account, and she wrote a book.
Oh.
So I'll send you her Instagram page, and she wrote a book about like old school, and like if you follow her stories, she'll do like little quizzes of like, oh, like Henry Fonda, like blah blah blah. I never get them right.
I'm in.
I'll have to send it to you.
I will win the game.
I'm like, what is it? B? No, I'm wrong.
I'm such a nerd. It's my favorite thing.
We all have listen, I'm a nerd about theater, and we all have our nerd things.
Yep.
I feel like it's calmed down though since the pandemic and age.
Age will do it to you.
It's also like the Oscars is like the holiest day of the year for me, and now I'm just like, it's on Sunday. I haven't watched.
Well, it's also like, I don't imagine they're going to be all together in the same room or
whatever. It's going to be a huge gathering. It's all live. It's not virtual. But like, I think the hardest category this year that doesn't have a clear winner is lead actress.
I agree.
I really wanted to be Carey Mulligan because I love her, but I feel like it's going to be Viola Davis or Frances McDormand.
I was going to say Frances McDormand, but oh my God, who won the BAFTA?
Frances McDormand.
She did. Okay. Well, there was somebody, I've been reading things lately. I follow Gold Derby, and they're like, could it be Carey Mulligan? Because now she's got some steam behind her, and I don't know. It's also like the performance that represents so much about what's been happening. And
okay, so you know how I like mentioned my love of SNL a few weeks ago? I say one of my best friends. I have like two best friends. And so her name's Elizabeth, and she got to go to, I've been to SNL before, but like she got to go to the dress rehearsal of the Carey Mulligan SNL.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, my hatred and jealousy for you so much.
Yeah.
And like, she's fully aware of like, and she's like, I don't mean to like add more fuel to the fire, but like, so she got the ticket because of her roommate's friend. And if her roommate's friend couldn't find another person, Elizabeth's roommate was like, maybe you should invite Allison to go with you. And I was like, oh,
please.
Yes.
So great.
For my 30th birthday. And this is like, if you get to know me a little bit more, you'll be like, of course that happened to you. So my 30th birthday, my stepmom, she was at like some charity, like some luncheon at the country club, and they had like silent auctions. And one of them was SNL or Seth Meyers. And she goes, which one do you want? I was like, Seth Meyers. No, SNL. Yeah. Cause I've seen Seth Meyers so many times, and I will continue because I have a deep-rooted, passionate love for him.
I do too.
But she got me tickets to see Saturday Night Live. So it was I could either have done a dress rehearsal or a live taping. But my 16th birthday, my dad somehow got dress rehearsal tickets for me. So my older sister and I went to a dress rehearsal of SNL where it was Ray Liotta was the host.
Oh my God.
And the musical guest was the Donnas.
Oh
and
my
nobody
God.
knew who the Donnas were.
No,
and I'm 16. I'm like, I know who the Donnas are.
Wow.
And then, but for the live taping, we saw Louis C.K.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But at the time it was great.
The time,
But
yeah.
now, not so much.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget they did this courtroom sketch where he had like these fake lashes on. And so the whole sketch was about his lashes and ended up being like a Maybelline commercial.
Yeah, it's great.
And my friend and I were just cackling so much. This guy in front of us turned around and gave us the dirtiest look because we were laughing so much.
You're at Saturday Night Live. You have to laugh. You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. Well, he's there not to have fun.
Yeah, man.
Fine then, dude. I feel like you were talking about something else right before that, and I can't.
I know we were talking about Indecent.
Oh yeah, I
think like, you know how I keep like convelling over the ferryman. I think like if you have a really good piece of theater like that, and especially like in a long show, like August Osage County, long show, but goes like that.
Yep.
You know,
100%.
My favorite was I went to see it with a guy friend of mine, the movie, and I knew what happened. Do you know August Osage County?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So the fact that they're actually like brother and sister and not cousins. So the best was hearing the audience reaction in the movie theater when it's like revealed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love audience reactions to reveals. And it's always when I saw Harry Potter.
Yeah.
For like the third time, my friend and I were sitting next to this girl. She's like, yeah, the tickets are just like 80 something bucks. And she's like, I don't know Harry Potter that well, but her reactions to stuff were like so great. It's like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it's
incredible. Really exciting. I love how that changes depending on where in the world you are and also where in the country you are.
And also the audience reaction to that guy taking off his shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of it. Yeah, 100%.
For sure. 100%. Now we got like completely sidetracked. Let's see. So going back to your career. So after One Life to Live, what happens next? Were you
Um,
like prepared that it was like you guys
yeah,
knew it was canceled, obviously. Were you just like figuring
yeah.
out what to do next?
When I got on the show, I had been seeing on message boards and stuff for a long time that there were rumors of it being canceled. So I saved at least 60% of every paycheck I ever got,
Hmm.
and smartest thing I've ever done.
Hmm.
And
Kids, you hear that? You should do it.
did
I
you hear
don't.
that? I also like so the movie that I got before that didn't come out until a year and a half later was the oh god was James L. Brooks had hired me to do this what I thought was a baseball movie. It ended up being this romantic comedy. It ended up coming out called How Do You Know?
Hmm.
But it was a major flop. But at the time that I was working on it, I worked on it for like 2 months
Hmm.
because there was so much on the cutting room floor. But I got paid for that amount of time, and so that also had seen me through and had sort of saved
You know
me.
what I
Even
find really interesting? It's like I know like it's really horrible when people get like cut out of films or
yeah,
TV and stuff, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, at least you got paid.
I did, and also
No?
like I think
Like how Shailene Woodley was supposed to play Mary Jane in the Spider-Man
oh
movie, but like
yes,
all of her stuff got cut.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, you got paid.
It's also like, you know, of course, every actor is like, oh, is this the thing that's going to give me exposure that might, move me to the next step? And so, I had a couple of scenes in this movie, and the director thought I was funny, and like there are things that were happening that when none of it made it, except there's like I'm in the movie for like 2 seconds.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was disappointed, but at the same time, I was like, well, maybe there was a part of me that was like, well, maybe I'm not ready, I guess,
Mhm.
and that's okay. So, um, the fall after the soap got canceled, I got this NBC show uh, that was a mid-season replacement, and it was a pretty big part, and it was a substantial thing. And then I remember the next May going to the final wrap party, and they were like, you'll be on the second season, and everything was great. And then I found out on Mother's Day the show got canceled. So you just never know. And then I went through some. It was hard for a little while. It was like the bottom fell out, and I think that kind of culminated in being working at a restaurant and someone coming in and recognizing me from the soap and asking me like I forget how they said it, but they're like, "Why didn't you tell us you were working here? We could all come and visit you." And I was like, "No, that doesn't sound good at all because this is a job for me." And it was kind of like, "Well, what are you doing here?" kind of thing. And
Yeah.
you know, I I had come to grips with it myself. I was like, you need to go to work. There's no shame in that, um, but not everybody understands what that means. And so some people are like, did you quit acting or did you? No, I'm still trying, but sometimes that just is the way it goes. And certainly not for lack of trying, but there was a couple of hard years there for a while. I went to LA for a year and same song, second verse there. It's just tough working 3 to 4 jobs just to, woo, those are tough.
Working hard for the money.
Yeah, there was a one time in LA where I didn't have enough gas to get over the hill back in the San Fernando Valley, and I had to like I was looking for change in my car, and I found like two bucks, and I that got me over. And because I everything cleared on the same day, and I didn't have enough money to. It was just yeah.
I'm having like a mini anxiety attack.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
thinking about that right now.
Well,
No,
I
it's
feel
not
like
like that was honestly, like that was me with like this whole pandemic and
yeah.
like, before you know how you're like, I got this. So before this job I got now, I applied for this and another job and I interviewed for both of them. And I was pretty confident I was going to get one of them. I
Mm.
ended up getting both.
Mm.
Toss hair. I had to turn the other one
Hey,
down because I started this job and the other one
sure.
was part-time.
Yeah, good for you. Wow,
Thank you.
that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you're like,
It's not a theater job, but I get to do theater
no,
thing.
but there's also like I've also learned anything that allows you to do the thing that you love, like it's a privilege to make an entire living in this industry. It's not easy.
I'm very lucky with what I got because it's a lot more money than what I was making. I get
Sure,
to work from home and
sure.
like
And do the
the
things
other
you love.
job, yeah, it was such long hours. And I was like, once things open and it's a Monday night and they're having a concert at Lincoln Center, like like give me a show. Like
Yeah.
a Rogers and like if they do
Uh,
South Pacific
South
concert,
Pacific. Yeah.
I will be there. I can go. Like they
Yeah.
did the Scarlet Pimpernel a couple years ago,
Uh,
and I was dying to go, but I couldn't because I worked on Mondays until like 8 o'clock at night.
yeah.
And I'm a very good worker. I don't like asking off when I have to, like, don't have to, or like, I'm not gonna be like, I'm
I
sick.
get that. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, I did have to do that once when I like changed cable providers, but that's a different story. Cause like, I'm so sick. Cause like the cable was fucked up. And my
I see
other
where
roommate
you're
was like, I can't like, I can't go to work. I was like, I have to go to work at like,
going.
yeah. So, but no, I'm very lucky, and especially now with like the pandemic, because I still know people who don't have jobs.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's my wife and I both had employment last fall. We knew it was temporary, but
Mhm.
you know.
Was that your Angels in America
No, I
or?
was teaching
Oh,
via
that's right.
Zoom. Yeah, and then she was working for that nonprofit, helping people to register to vote, and it was very fulfilling, and it was necessary, and it was great, and I I I was really resistant to teaching because I feel like the more that I learn about how to do this, the less I think I know, and B because it's actually something my uncle told me when I was in college. He was like, "Well, when you fail at being an actor, you should learn how to teach." And I was like, "Why would you say that to me? Like, I haven't even tried it yet, like
Yeah.
professionally." So I had this chip on my
Is
shoulder
that
of like,
saying those who cannot do teach?
yeah, and I was like, well, and he's a teacher, and so I was like, so are you? Is this you dealing with something? But also, um, I realized it was stupid to not take this job, and I'm so glad I did, and it also reinvigorated like watching these students. They were just so passionate and so excited and so hungry, and I was like, yeah, I am too. Just
Mhm.
because I've been out of school for a while doesn't mean I'm not any of those things. And this kind of reminded me and relit the fire under my ass. I just
Yeah.
really enjoyed. Anyway, so sometimes you have to do things for you, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize what a gift that would be, and I'm so glad I said yes.
That's probably also like a writing thing too, right? Or no?
Says in what
You mean like doing it for yourself? Like, do you write
yeah,
for
yeah.
yourself or?
Well, so with this play that is now optioned and ready to
Oh yeah,
go.
let's talk about this play.
Sure.
Also, before we do that, would you ever direct?
I'm interested in it for sure, but I don't know if it's wise for me to, at this point in my life, to direct my own work because.
Or I mean, just in general,
Oh
not
yeah,
even.
I am very interested in it. I think more in terms of being a writer at the moment, but like, yeah, I definitely would. I would love to, and I have directed little things here and there before, but
Maybe we'll get you to direct a virtual reading.
maybe I'd be totally down for that.
I'll tell the people.
I'll tell the people. I love that.
I'll tell the people. It's like it's kind of gross. I'm like, guys, I love him. I would just want to.
I mean, I love this so much, and I just.
For me, it's like when you find, and it's not only you, there are other people. So I don't want you to think that I'm just like David
No,
obsessed.
no, 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 no. I
Um,
appreciate it.
no, it's just like when you have such a great time working with someone and they're just so eager to do stuff and they're just so kind and just happy to be there, like you just want to keep working with them.
I've also met people much older than me that still have a zeal and a work ethic and an excitement about this. And then on the flip side, there are also people younger than me that are very, very bitter about what this industry has handed them or not handed them. And so I understand some of that is dependent on opportunity and some of it is dependent on a decision, when you wake up in the morning. But
Mhm.
I talked to this class. I think they were NYU students. This was a couple years ago. I was helping somebody out, and I said, I don't think people talk enough about the joy that this industry can bring.
Mhm.
And someone raised their hand and said, we have people coming in here all the time who tell us how difficult this is for a living. No one has ever mentioned joy,
Yeah.
ever. And
Sorry, Eighth Avenue.
no,
Fire.
I get it. But
Siren.
it's just so important to me that,
Mhm.
yeah, you're gonna get, especially at the college level, you're gonna get told, you
Mhm.
know, only two of you are gonna make it. Like, fuck
I
off.
was told I wasn't going to get cast till I was older.
And how did you feel about that?
I was like, thanks.
Yeah, it's like, well, what am I supposed to fucking do? Like,
I mean, just because I did a great job playing like a 6-year-old woman who's Jewish with a Long Island accent myself, but yeah, like like I want a chance to play like the lead female, which like looking back on it now is like probably couldn't because I think I'm more of a character. But
But also like, and
but like when you're in college, you don't want to hear that shit.
no, you
No.
and you need to be, we have to have a sense of what this world is,
Yeah, it's really interesting because you hear different people say different things about stuff. And like getting back to the joy thing really quickly, the summer of 2009, I technically didn't graduate college until August of 2009, but I had enough credits to walk a graduation.
Sure.
Because I was a double major, MBD, I have 2 degrees.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, and it's communications and acting.
But
And here I am. Um, But so I interned at Deutsch, Donnie Deutsch's advertising agency. And he said, you have to be as happy coming into work as you are leaving on a Friday or something on those lines.
I get that.
Like you had to
Yeah.
be as happy on Friday leaving as you are coming in, like however he worded that. And that kind of always stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I had to say, like, as horrible as this pandemic is and getting a new job, like, it kind of was a blessing in disguise because with my old job, I was getting like a little curmudgeon-y. Like,
Yep.
I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to just constantly tell people where there's a bathroom. And then like last Friday, I had like my 2-month meeting with my boss, and I was just like, our team is great. I'm like nerdily excited about stuff, and it's just like you kind of need that. But I was also doing my old job for like 6.5 years, and I was working behind a desk with such a fucking pain in the ass woman.
Yeah.
Who I'm pretty sure now lives in a glass bubble, because if you want to talk about like germaphobe.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Girl. Girl. Free Britney.
Free Britney.
I feel like I know that there's like a Britney Spears birthday card that exists. So I feel like whenever your birthday is, I have to buy you that card.
I didn't know that. I see what you mean. I thought you meant like there's a birthday card digitally that everyone can sign and we're gonna send it.
Like I will like either like hand it to you, be like, hey David, bye. Or just
Also,
no David.
I'll take it whether it's birthday related or not. I feel like
I'll tell you what, next time I see the card, I will buy it.
Okay.
And when this lunch or whatever we do finally happens, I like how I say, let's actually make it happen.
We can. We have the ability to. I mean, I don't
but
live
when you're back in New York.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm free on Mondays, every other Tuesday and Saturday. And Sundays.
Other Tuesday. That's so specific.
Well, no, it's because my schedule, like I work Tuesday to Friday and then I work Wednesday. But next week, oh my God, is like
busy. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna I'm working 50 hours and then I have but honestly, it's really not that bad.
Okay.
It's really not that bad. Because like even like I'm working, like I'm sitting at home. I was watching The Office today while I was working.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
I had like 30 minutes to sit, but like every time I heard like a text come in or like an IM come in, I was like, what am I doing? Because I was on like stat records today. So like if somebody needed something, I was like on it.
To be accountable for the time.
Oh no, even my coworker called me today. She's like, hey, so I think we should like figure out how to like divvy up the work, AKA like calm down, girl. Like you don't have to do as much work as you are.
Well, that's a better way of addressing it than saying, hey, you're not pulling your weight.
Oh no, we're like my team that I work, like the entire company is great, but the team that I work with is like so supportive and like,
oh, I love that.
Have each other's. I know, it's so nice.
That's really great. I'm happy for you because that changes mental health more than anything. I think is the work environment.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I also call 2021 big dick energy. So
good. Yes.
Oh well, okay. When I went out to dinner with my dad, my stepmom, my siblings, my brother's friend, we went to a restaurant and my sister's like, oh my God, I think that's a dick cake. So somebody had a penis cake.
Oh, lovely.
And so for my birthday, they got me, there's a video on my Instagram.
I can't wait.
Penis cake. So I'm like, this is the energy I am bringing to 2021. I will say though, like last month, I kind of lost it a little bit, but I need to like bring.
But that's also like, it's still early in the year technically, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You can get it back.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a dick cake.
Yeah. And it's so funny. But I was like, and then we were all joking, like every time we come to this restaurant for someone's birthday, we're going to have to get a penis cake. And then, for shiz. And then I was telling my friend, and she's like, "Oh, let me guess, your mom's family got that for you." I was like, "No, my dad's." And she's like, "What?" I was
That's
like,
impressive.
"No."
That's impressive.
I was crying.
That's
It's hilarious.
it's great.
Mhm. And it tasted delicious.
I bet it
I
did.
have, yeah, I have a twin brother and sister. So my stepmom was like, "We're gonna have to get your brother like a boob cake. So they're gonna have to like shape it like boobs."
That's not that hard to do.
I know, especially if you have the dessert, the Napoleon. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. With the cherry
It's a
or
Napoleon with like those Italian ice cream cup.
yeah.
I'm getting very specific about what this is.
But I see exactly what you're saying. I know exactly the dessert you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally doable.
Yeah, 100%. You know, make it at home.
Make it at home.
Make it
You
at
can
home.
have butt cakes and like you can have all sorts of cakes.
Man,
I can see
our our sex is imminent party
that.
is gonna be so
to,
kink specific.
to those of you listening that don't know,
Oh, sorry, guys.
this
Two
is in
people.
reference to the phrase "sex is imminent," which is a stage direction in the play.
Which
Sex
is
is
read
Strangers.
50.
It's read at least at the end of almost every scene, at least
Almost
in the first
everything.
act,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Sex is imminent. Yeah.
You just read it, right? I can't remember if you said if you saw it or not.
I did not see it. No.
Yeah, you just
I
read
think
it.
that summer I was gone. I don't know. I think I missed it.
Hmm.
that summer.
Well, for the people who are obsessed with you, how did this passion flick movie happen?
That was this makes me sound probably more important than I am, but it was an offer. I got a phone call. In fact, this is so interesting. July 8th, 2019.
So specific.
I remember thinking for the first time genuinely, what if I can't do this for a living anymore? What if it doesn't want me? Right.
Mhm.
And this is someone who was at the time working 3 to 4 jobs to make ends meet. And I remember thinking, what would happen if I quit? And I remember before I went to sleep that night, I went like, please just give me a sign. And I had
Mhm.
a dream that night where I quit and I was super sad and I woke up and da da da. And I'm at the gym and I get a phone call from my agent. He's like, we have this offer for you for this movie. And here's the company and the director wants to have a conversation with you before you read the script. And that was just because of the subject matter and all of that. And I just got a good vibe from her. And I'm so glad I did it. It's actually the script is based almost entirely on the book, and so a lot of the scenes are very long. And so I was like, oh, this is a play, and if I treat it like a play, it'll be a really great experience. And it changed the course of what I was doing. And I've never been the lead in a movie before, and
Mhm.
proved that I could do it to myself, and also like knew how to prepare for that because I had sort of incrementally been given opportunities that had sort of led to that. And that's that's the movie that took me to London for the first time. And
You should go back and like actually remember what London is like,
well, I did see a play while I was over there. I saw uh, The Sun, which is
which they're turning into a movie with
yes, they
Hugh
are. And
Jackman and Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, that's right. And I was like front row center. It was so good. It was so good.
My
It was
friend
great.
and I keep like, it's literally like the two people. So for my big 30th birthday,
Mhm.
my dad was like, "Do you want a gift or a trip?" And I said, "I want to
Ooh,
go to London and Paris.
yeah,
Paris is my dream place to go." And he's
yeah.
like, "Okay, great. I'll pay for a flight and hotel, like
Wow,
however long you want to go."
wow,
So
it's great.
the big thing for me was seeing something in the West End you can't see in New York.
Yep,
And I love
100%.
it, and I love a good historical drama.
Yep,
So we ended up seeing this play called Queen Anne,
yeah, yeah,
which also is like, if you saw the movie The Favorite, it's like the
yeah.
same story, but
Yes,
like not
yes,
an all
yes,
about Eve thing. So
yes.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it's funny because we stayed at the Haymarket Hotel and literally like right around the corner was the theater. And if you looked out our window, you saw where Phantom was.
Oh, so great.
It was a really great hotel.
I loved walking around there because
Mhm.
uh, also just the way they treat their theaters, and there's like a plaque for every single, this occurred here and this was here.
I feel like
But
we didn't pay enough attention to certain things though, because we
it's
were just kind of
so
like on the go.
yeah, and it's so overstimulating too. But what I really appreciate is like the history in this country, as far as documented history, only goes back so far.
Yeah.
The history there is like so much farther, and so you're looking at things that are like centuries old, and it's just so exciting.
For me, what was really cool is when we went to Westminster, I really wanted to see the coronation chair because I was like, how this chair hasn't been used in like over 60 years.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. I will say though, we were there during the summer. So we were at Westminster on the 4th of July, and like one of the guys there actually wished us a happy 4th of July, which is pretty funny. But yeah.
That's Treason Day. It's pretty great. Whoops. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brits. Sorry, love.
Well, it's funny because somebody's like, what if they talk to you about Trump? I'm like, well, we'll just talk about Brexit. Nobody said anything.
Yeah, but also like, we know that Trump is an idiot. Well, most of us do. And so
we don't have to, he's not here anymore. He's
not here anymore.
We don't have to reminisce about it.
That was something that I felt really, that I thought was really sweet, was because of my involvement with Passion Flicks, a lot of my followers are international now. And so I would get messages from people all over the world on election day, and they were like, we're pulling for you, you guys can do it. And I was like,
so cute.
Oh my God, it was so sweet. People from the UK, people from Australia. Really, really cool. It was cool.
Yeah. So because you think like, or you feel, or you know that it's kind of changed the course for you, this movie, what happened after?
Here's the thing, it's still a very niche market, but now I have, I have footage that I didn't have. Like, I have myself on screen doing scenes that I've never been given the opportunity to do before. Like, I had this 11-minute monologue about the abuse that I tried to protect my brothers from. There's things that I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm being given an opportunity that I can, this sounds terrible to say out loud, but it is unfortunately a byproduct of this industry, is that I got a lot more social media followers, and sometimes they look at that when they're hiring you for a job. So, and I hate that.
I get it.
But I got those followers because of this job. And that means a lot to me, only in as far as I don't ever want to be in a position, and I'm sure it's happened before, where that was a factor.
Yeah.
And it's not something I personally care a lot about. And it doesn't mean I don't want people to follow me, but I'm not someone that, I'm not on social media a lot. I'm more of an observer. And so I'm just like, it means more to me to get this 90-minute play right than it is to write this skit and be on TikTok for like 5 seconds or whatever. Nothing against that, but I'm in the long haul.
It's not your,
it's not my thing. Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of, actors and stuff out there who's just like, I can't with the social, and like, yes, it kind of helps them, but like, it's also a way of like promoting what they're doing, which is really great. But I understand that. Like, I don't really post that much on social media, but when I'm bored, I'm on it.
Sure. Yeah, me too. But for me, it's tricky because like the things that get the most traffic are the things that I'm like, I'm doing this because it's part of the image or whatever that I have done. But when I post the things I'm most excited about, like, hey, my screenplay won this award, not as many people care, and that's okay. But that just lets me know that,
you know what, I care. There you go. And
it's almost like
email you.
It's almost like this. I don't know. It's very.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Like they're there for a specific reason,
and that's totally fine. But I've also gotten messages from people being like, you haven't posted yourself shirtless in a while, and I'm just like, but I don't have to do that. Like, I don't have to do what you say I have to do. Then what happens? Like, oh, you're right, I'm so sorry, let me go. I'm also like, it's a pandemic, and like, my mother-in-law passed away. Like, I put my dad in a nursing home. Like, I'm not there right now. Like, and that's okay anyway.
And you don't have to, like, you don't have to post a thirst trap if you don't want to. And also, like, whatever I posted a year ago, I probably wouldn't post now. You know what I mean? Like, people change, and whatever they want to post change and stuff. Okay, so talk to me about this play you wrote.
Yes. I guess, so I had the idea in 2012 to write this play. It's Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart.
Some of your favorite actors?
Two of my absolute favorites. They were in my reading about them, and I didn't know this until I read about them, that they were best
They were
friends.
already passed when you read about them.
Say that
Right.
again.
I was saying like they already passed away
Yes,
when
yes,
you read
yes.
about them, and it wasn't like a thing like, oh no, I
Oh
just
no, I did not. I
them.
did not create this. No.
Again, you are not allowed to read about Julie Andrews.
They I didn't realize that they were such good friends, and that they were you know, sort of came up through the ranks together, and were
Mhm.
roommates and all this stuff. But then the big kicker for me was that they were political opposites and very, very adamant in their beliefs against one another. And
Mhm.
so in my mind, I was like, okay, this is a play, but I'm not skilled enough to write this. But I
Right.
kept coming back to the material because it's
Mhm.
so, it makes so much sense to me that
Yeah.
I just kept writing it. And then in 2013 or 14, my hard drive crashed and I lost almost all of it. Just a fluke thing. So I was forced to start over, which was maybe the best thing in hindsight that could have happened, because it may, by that time I'd figured out what worked and what didn't. And
Mhm.
I finished it in 2017 and started entering it in like festivals and conferences, and it got into the Last Frontier conference that Edward Albee was a big part of up in Alaska, conveniently close to where I live. And I was not able to go because I was on hold for a big job that could have changed my life, and flew back to New York, and then found out when I landed I didn't get the job.
What is it? Can you tell me? You'll tell me after.
Well, I can tell you now. I was on hold to play Superboy in the Titans series, and
Okay.
they weren't sure. They knew they wanted to introduce the character at the very end of the season, but they ended
Mhm.
up going with a stunt double because they were like doing it in shadows, and they're like, so we don't need.
Yeah.
And it's okay because the guy that got it should be the one getting it. So then they recast it the next year, and I actually asked the next year. I was like, okay, so now they're doing season 2. Can I be seen? And they were like, they've seen the tape. They might think you're too old now. So
Mm.
what a difference a year makes. So anyway,
I look better with age. It's fine.
they graciously filmed the presentation and the panel discussion afterwards and sent it to me, and they were really tough on me, and they should have been, and I made some big sweeping changes.
Mhm.
um, Short story is, we had another reading. It was brought
Mhm.
to some producers who signed it, and we did a workshop production in 2019,
Mhm.
and knock on wood,
Mhm.
we're close to the next step.
Well, I'm available to direct.
That would be fantastic. I am not in it. It's too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to direct everything with you in it?
No, but people
I'm
asked. They're like,
joking.
"Are you gonna be a part of this?" And
Well, I did read, I'm not gonna lie, I only read the first 4 pages because my brain wasn't working when I was reading it. I was like, I can't like read this right now, but it is a very like sweeping and
there
visual epic.
there is a just to kind of keep up with what I was saying before, with like, you know, you have a 2-man play. The minute those 2 people are out on stage, the
Yeah.
audience is like, all right, what's next? Show me what's next. So
Right.
I've sort of crafted it in this way that really cooks. And so it jumps, most scenes are like 2 to 3 pages, with the exception of the very beginning, which is like this about
Mhm.
10-minute scene where they're starting
Yeah.
to work on the airplane, and they're anyway. But it's very cinematic, and it's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why it's difficult to do, is because there's really quick changes and really quick
Yeah.
things have to happen. So I'm very proud of it. You know, couple readings, couple workshops later, and it's in good shape. It just needs to, you know, the pandemic obviously stopped a lot of this, but I just, I feel like I found something that makes sense to me, and people really respond to it, and I'm very, very excited. And it's a niche market for sure, but it's weird. I didn't think I could feel as fulfilled not being an actor as I do with this project as a writer, and it's just very, very exciting. So
Yeah. I mean, I
hopefully,
think if you find something, it's like, I get it.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I
it's
haven't
really.
acted in so long. Like, I refuse to do a reading of the play Proof. Like, I will
Mhm,
not direct it
mhm,
because my dream role is Catherine, and
mhm.
I'm horrible with reading out loud, as you've already heard.
That's okay.
But
Walk me through
I get
that, only because you do have a degree in acting. So is it cold reading that you're
Yeah,
sort
I'm just not good with cold reading. Like,
right,
if
got
I
it,
learn the lines and everything, then I'm fine, and then
got
I
it,
can kind of like build it from there. But
got
I just can't like you know,
So
and I think it also has to do with like a learning disability that I
sure,
was
I understand.
diagnosed with, but like they never categorized what it was.
I understand.
So
So auditioning is a nightmare for you in that sense.
I like I've
Horrible.
actually went on like so when I graduated college, I just kind of started working and I didn't really audition. So I never
Mm.
really did like the acting
Oh,
thing.
that's so interesting. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's not a podcast story. That's
I see.
over lunch story.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Because
You
we're
hear
not
that,
gonna
guys? You're missing out.
guys. NBD, let me see what other questions I have.
Oh, please, please.
I kind of may or may not have stolen like questions. Is
I
there anything you want to ask me while I'm just like going through my papers?
was curious if you had I mean, I know we've discussed Neil Butte, but do you have playwrights that you're always like looking at and that you will drop everything to see? No,
No, I think it's more of like,
the story.
yeah, the story, who's in the show.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I was in London, The Ferryman was playing there.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, oh, this is gonna come to Broadway, and it did. And I was just like, I was like, I
Yeah.
wish I saw it in London. Um, no, I think it just really depends on like who's like I wanted to see Hangman because Dan Stevens was in it.
Mhm.
And I love me some Downton Abbey. Oh my God, second movie Christmas.
Second
So
movie
excited.
Christmas.
Yeah, no, I think it just, depends. And if I also like have, so I was a huge fan of the History Boys, still am.
Mhm.
So I kind of follow like certain actors' careers. So like whenever Russell Tovey's on Broadway, I'll be like, I'm gonna go see Russell Tovey.
Yeah.
But like I didn't get to see Virginia Woolf, and I've actually never seen a production of Virginia Woolf. I'm sorry. I'll add that to my list of things.
No,
that
no, it's just that on my list of incredible performances I saw was Tracy Letts, and
Here's okay. My
incredible.
merch company had that show.
Mhm.
The manager refused to let anybody else work it, but she let one person work the show to see the show. And I was like, are we fucking
Why?
kidding me? I
Why?
don't
Make
know.
any sense? That doesn't make any sense.
Make no sense to me. I was
That's
also really bummed I missed Wolf Hall because I'm like, oh, I'll do merch there. And I never
I
did.
missed it too, and I'm sure the miniseries is fantastic, but I think something about seeing something live is really
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like the story of the Tudors, like I'm here for
yeah,
it.
yeah. Are you a fan of the Tudors? The
The TV show?
show? Yeah.
Yes. Although not Henry Cavill's acting,
Ah,
especially in the last season. I know, like, I
my
call him my future husband, but like, let me just say this really quickly.
Mhm.
Granted, you're in your 20s. They age you. You look like a lion.
Mhm.
Your voice still sounds like a 20-something-year-old.
Right.
At least Jonathan Rhys Meyers lowered his voice.
Right. Yeah.
And so also like I will say though, like, oh my God, what's her name? Who played Anne Boleyn?
Is it
Yeah. Natalie something?
Natalie Dormer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible in that
Yeah,
role.
she's really great. She's
Yeah.
really great.
She did Venus and Fur in London.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
That makes perfect sense to me. Did she
Incredible.
get an Olivia nomination for that? I mean, I know they sometimes
I
do.
don't remember.
Such a great part.
I don't know. I just like I saw Venus and Fur twice because I was just like,
So
holy
good.
shit.
I
And
know.
that again is when I got a closer seat. So
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So you're gonna ask me something and then I rambled.
I don't remember now. I do have a fun fact for you.
What?
There is and maybe you know this already. There is a poster for the third season of The Tudors that I'm on.
How would I know that? Can you
when-
please send me
when
this?
Jonathan Rhys Meyers is sitting on a throne that's made out of human bodies. I'm the
Yeah.
back of the throne.
I'm gonna have to hold on. I have to Google this now.
It's I say this because I did the shoot with Nick Adams, and he's in far more of the throne than I am, but I did make the cut because I have sideburns, and you can tell it's myself. Anyway, I think it's season 3.
Hold on, talk amongst yourselves. I'm looking.
That's my fun fact.
It's your fun fact. I'm a big proponent of fun facts. Oh, you mean this photo?
That is my back.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Well, then that's you.
That's me. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen this photo before.
It's not well known, but it was in Times Square for.
You just got like British for a second.
Yes, it's not well known. Yes, but it's my one modeling job that I've ever done. I have proof.
I've literally never seen this photo, and like
Oh my
I'm
God.
obsessed with the idea of this now.
I feel like it was on some limited release DVDs of the third
It's-
season, but who has
It
DVDs?
could have been a DVD. I'm just used to like this photo with the women
Right.
behind
Yes.
him,
Yes.
or like the one where he's like with all the other women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, like
Yeah.
so many women he had. It was great. Whatever. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It's like, ooh, Google News. Like I said, I have a huge entertainment knowledge base, so it's just like, oh, Madonna's daughter and whatever. Like, yeah, used to date Timothy Chalamet. I am well aware. I also have a Timothy Chalamet prayer candle up over there.
Oh, I didn't realize you were such a big fan.
Oh, I love him. I also like if you like, what is it? The year like 2017 to like 2018, like I saw Call Me by Your Name in theaters
Mhm.
way too many times. And I
You
posted
know,
that a lot.
when I so the first thing I do with my students when I ask them
Mhm.
first day of class is what are the things that shaped them, the things that they watched, like
Mhm.
television, movies, whatever it is, because sometimes those are going to be the things that we glean from when we do our own work.
Mhm.
And most of the students said Call Me by Your Name was the thing that changed the way they saw acting
Mhm.
and cinema in general. And I think that
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Um, Michael Stuhlbarg has
Mhm.
this
Oh
incredible monologue at the end of the movie. And sometimes I cry, sometimes I don't. And I was just like,
yeah.
it killed me because like I just turned 30 and he's
Mm.
like, you give up so much of yourself that you lose it before you're 30. And I was like, well, shit.
Mhm. He's also just,
An incredible actor.
oh my God. I don't know.
My friends and I like sometimes joke about like if they did a musical version of it, like who would play what role. And I
Oh,
say Danny Burstein as the father.
yeah, I can totally see that.
Mhm.
I just think Michael Stuhlbarg is so
Yeah.
special. I just,
Mhm.
he's he plays Edward G. Robinson in the Trumbo movie, and
I saw it.
the scene where he tells Bryan Cranston, he's like, "Well, I had to provide for my family. Like, yes, I name names, but I was just like, that's the scene that the movie hinges on to me because I'm like, everyone knows in hindsight it was bad to name names and you're an asshole and you fuck you, but I believed his desperation to, and I just
Yeah,
like this poor man. He's just such a good actor.
he's
He is
great.
so good.
I personally think he should have been nominated for.
I do too. And he had a banner year that year. It was that, and he did Shape of Water, and he did.
He's great in that too.
Yeah, he was so good. I just, he's someone I might have an emotional reaction to if I see them.
Yeah. Well, he actually did something at the Public.
Yeah, he did a production of.
Yeah. It was a Greek show that I did not
Yes. That was written by Tim Roth, not Tim Roth. Tim Roth? No, the guy from Oh Brother Where Art Thou? Oh, I can't remember now. Anyway.
I can see them in my head, but I can't think of who it is.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It was, yeah, he's great.
So as we're kind of like winding down, do you have a favorite role you've ever played other than like the two shows you've done with me?
Oh man. Oh, that's tough. I feel like I
Or the
heard it.
8-year-old Harvey Firestein?
Yeah, right. I feel like I
Manager.
heard an actor say this on an interview the other day. He said, every role is my favorite. Richard Kind said it. He said, every role is a dream role. Because then you get into it and you're like finding something. You're like, oh, I didn't know that this was part of this. And that's a cliche response, except to say that, like, uh, I don't know. I got lucky in college with some of the plays I got to do, and I learned so much. Um, Here, this is the story I'll tell you because this is the one I think I could say. So I got cast as Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream in college, and I thought I wanted to be like Demetrius or Lysander, and I was like, "Am I even? What do I do with this?" Anyway, um, I came into rehearsal with the first 4 acts memorized because I
Mhm.
was like, "I want to go. I want to, you know." And in the 5th act, there's this long monologue he has where he realizes he's been a dick to Titania, and he's just like, "Oh my God, I need this person in my life." And I didn't understand the monologue when I read it.
Mhm.
And I had a really great mentor teacher. His name is Andrew May, and he worked on it with me. And I still didn't quite get it. And I will never forget this. In the middle of like the second performance, I'm saying it out loud, going through my head of like what this means and then how I'm saying it in Shakespeare land.
Mhm.
And I realized in the moment what it was about in front of an audience of 500 people. And I never felt anything like that in my life. And that was the moment I was like, I want to be an actor. This is the most powerful feeling that I've ever experienced. And nothing against musicals, but I was like, I don't have to think about this. It just comes.
Yeah.
And you can do all the homework and set everything up and then knock it all down and just go out and try it, which is what Anthony Hopkins says you should do. And something happens that you can't plan and you can't regurgitate the second night. And that was the night I realized it, my sophomore year of college. And it changed my life. And it was because I had this mentor that walked me through it. And it was because I came into the rehearsal not knowing or understanding it at all and thinking, well, this doesn't matter. And
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, that was maybe that. Probably not a part I'll play anytime soon, but
so I can pull out some Shakespeare mugs. We can.
So good.
I do. I have an insult mug and a love mug that has.
Oh, I love that.
I even have Shakespeare playing cards.
So my pet project right now, I've written this short film called Richard's Burden. And it's basically.
Is it bad like I know about that?
It's a 5-minute piece that I almost had funding for twice, and then anyway, it's fallen through, but it's still on the docket.
Go fund me.
Well, yeah. So the idea is that it's him getting ready backstage before his performance of Hamlet, and he basically has to drink his way back to normal because if he's sober, he can't do it. And so he comes in and he's shaking, and as the more he drinks, and then the film culminates with him staring into the mirror, trying to get into it. And he basically has this thing where he says that he and Robert Kennedy used to go blow for blow reciting the sonnets, and he said he beat him by reciting one backwards. And then the end of my short film is, which is something I'm working on right now, is him reciting sonnet number 18 backwards, which is the Shall I Compare to a Summer's Day?
Yeah, now I know.
And I've gotten half of it done, and it is very difficult because there's no motivation. You just have to memorize the words literally backwards. Yeah. But
you know what? You can put that on your special skills.
Yes, and it's a pet project of mine. It's And
sorry, God.
No, I was just gonna say I've talked to a makeup artist about, because he was 39 when he did it, but he was like a hard 39. So I want to.
They were all hard looking back in the day.
Yeah, age myself a little bit.
Did you ever hear of that TV show Slings and Arrows?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you? Oh yeah.
I think at the time I was introduced to it, I didn't have an appreciation for it, and now going back, like I actually have it on a list of things to watch because I just listened.
I don't know where you can find it. I think I found it on Netflix.
Yes, I've heard it's on Netflix, but then I heard it might be on BritBox, maybe not. I don't know. But
there's so many things. I'm like, I can't get Paramount. I don't want to get Peacock. Like, I don't want to spend money.
Right.
Luckily, like Younger is on Hulu, so I don't have to get Paramount.
Right. There's so much great stuff out there. And I just want to watch it all the time.
I do want to watch Girls 5 Eva, but I'm like, I really don't want to pay for streaming.
You get your what is it, your week trial period, and then you just.
I know, but like.
I know, that's how they get you. I know.
That's also like, that's how they're getting people, I'm sure, to go on there to watch The Office. But I'm like, it's on Comedy Central, so.
All the time.
Every night. But there'll be times I'm like, boo, it's not on, or like it's not on until 4. It's really, I know the schedule for Friends for during the week. It's really sad. That was my entire pandemic, was watching Friends.
I know the schedule for
Frasier.
For Frasier and for Golden Girls. Yeah, because Golden Girls is the lead in on Frasier. So you have to stay up extra late. There
was a cousin on my dad's side who was an actor, and he appeared on Golden Girls. And he was also, I believe, in a Godfather movie, and he was in Moonstruck with Cher.
Oh my God. Wait, that's like, those are big deals. One and all.
And here I am. I've never met him.
Wow.
But he's passed, but yeah.
He's passed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna be like, he's a West Coaster.
Yeah. But okay, so what are your dream roles? Oh, are you getting your list out?
Yeah, well, I have this list of like, see, here's the thing. I don't know if I have dream roles per se, but I have like things that I've read, or I just need to be in the people's orbit. Do you know the playwright Danai Gurira? She is on The Walking Dead. I love.
Oh yes, okay, I know.
And then she's also like this prolific playwright. And
didn't she write Eclipse?
Yes, and she wrote this play Familiar that I auditioned for, that was at the Old Globe and I wanted to do it very badly, and was not the right type, and that's fine. But I just feel like I need to be in this person's orbit because I've listened to her talk about like like how she's like, yeah, I'm doing this Marvel movie, but like I have to be like, hey, I gotta go to New York and do this reading of my play because this is like what drives me, and like she's not afraid to advocate for herself in that. And
Yeah.
I just
Put that in your contract.
I just think she's so interesting and
No,
such a
Lauren Graham has a thing in her contract about like there's like a
oh
Gilmore
yeah, Gilmore
clause.
Girls. I've heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she has the out if she
By
needs
the way,
it.
have you been watching the Mighty Ducks series? Because I know you like commented on it when I
I
like
haven't. I
something on
haven't. Just
Facebook.
the last 2 weeks have been weirdly and good busy, but we have it on
Cute.
the
I'm
queue.
just like waiting for like the OG Mighty Ducks to come
I'm
in.
sure it's like towards the end.
I
I'm sure.
know. Like Gordon Bombay is like a little bit happier now about hockey. Like he's a bit of a curmudgeon in the
Love
beginning.
it. Love it.
And it's just
He,
like fun to hear him say, I'm Gordon Bombay. And
I
it's
know
like,
it's
ah,
in that voice. He when he gets off the bus, I think it's a bus in Mighty Ducks 2 and says,
Mhm.
good to be home, and he does that like Disney nod. Whenever my brothers pick me up from the airport,
They do
we
that.
always, we always say it's good to be home and then do the Disney nod. It's so great.
Man, I love that movie. It's just like every time I hear Emilio Estevez, I always think of the Night at the Roxbury.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Emilio Estevez, man, the Mighty Ducks, Mighty Story. I was like, Emilio. And like, he
Emilio.
turned around, tipped his hat like this.
He's
And what
so
was it? You wouldn't believe the Mighty Duck Man.
so great.
Where
He's a great filmmaker too. I just
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't see it, but he had I mean, I was like, ooh, Mighty Ducks, because Joshua Jackson is in it.
Yeah.
He made that movie Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
And he also wrote another movie and directed
A public.
with his father. And I
Oh.
think the father passed and he does like some sort of pilgrimage with like the
Oh,
ashes.
interesting.
I think he wrote it, or I know he was definitely in it. He probably wrote and directed it. I don't know the name of it, but it was like a movie where these homeless people like end up taking over a library and like wouldn't leave.
Yes, that's the public.
Yeah.
That was shot here in Cincinnati. That's the only reason why I
Oh,
know.
cool.
Yeah. Cool. It is cool. I think he's such an interesting person and he's like his own guy. He's like
Yeah.
the not Charlie Sheen. Anyway.
Winning. But I mean, he's not as like known, but also
Right.
like look at, I mean, also The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I feel like he's not worried
and-
about it either. I don't
and
know.
Almost Fire,
Yeah,
which is also a really great movie.
great movie. The
Like,
Brat Pack. That's
yeah.
something I don't know as much about, but I have more of an appreciation for as I get older. And
When I was 16, I was like, oh my God, I'm Molly Ringwald in 16 Candles. Like,
yeah.
it's just the only reason I felt that way was because I was 16 and I was in love with the senior.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
the feelings weren't reciprocated. And that was really the only reason I felt that way. I mean, my family remembered my birthday. My older sister wasn't getting married, you know.
I get it.
Yeah, just that.
What did you ask me? You were
Your dream role.
Oh yeah. Well, it's more of like being in people's orbit, but like I feel like
Gordon Bombay, the Mighty Ducks musical.
Mighty Ducks. I don't know about the musical. I would do the stage play though.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm so like my musical dream roles are the ones where the guy doesn't sing that much. Like I'd want to be Arthur in Camelot, not Lancelot. I'd like to be Captain Von Trapp. I'd like to be Henry Higgins. Like those are because I also feel like there's a lot to chew on. Like
so it's interesting because like when Tony Shalhoub won the Tony for Band's Visit, everyone's like, he doesn't sing. So
but
I personally think Henry Higgins should have won that year, but
that Henry Higgins was fantastic.
Yeah, he's gonna be in what's that musical they're doing at Lincoln Center with Tony Asback and Flying Over Sunset.
Flying Over Sunset, yeah.
Oh my God, like your dream show to see.
yes, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I had it on my list like pre-pandemic and then alas.
Yeah, I had usually when it's like theater season, people are like, oh my God, you see so many shows. It's like, no, I buy my tickets so far in advance for stuff that it all like accumulates within a month or two.
A friend of mine does that too.
I had like 6 shows lined up.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's
yeah. I was going to the first night of previews of How I Learned to Drive.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about before the pandemic hit.
Before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I had tickets for 6, Take Me Out. I paid for Take Me Out. Like I made sure I got like good seats.
Yeah.
You
gonna take those Donny Osmond binoculars with you?
Yeah.
Brought it back. Okay.
My mom will very much appreciate that, by the way.
Thank you.
Like, Mom, like I told the story.
And then it got brought back.
It got brought back. Maybe like you should write a show about Donny Osmond and not star in it.
I mean, it'd be a good subject matter because that family's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I
will say, like, I'm not a writer. I can't play an instrument. Like, I can sing. I can admit it. Toss hair. I really wanted to create a musical version of Mystic Pizza.
Oh, I feel like that could happen. Like,
my old roommate works as like in the producing field. And her boss, it's just her and her boss, and they do like international business. So they're like working on all of this stuff and like bringing Harry Potter to Japan and like all of this stuff. So I like legitimately spoke to my roommate about it. And then I was like, how do I make this happen? And then they announced Melissa Etheridge is doing the music.
That's okay. I feel like, yeah.
I would have been like, it's so good because like the mother can have like a huge song when she's talking to the Julia Roberts character.
Boy, like, that's interesting.
Right.
I just listened to a podcast today with an interview with Maury Yeston, and he said he started writing 9 because he loved the movie and was just passionate about the subject matter. And it wasn't until after he was done that he was like, I guess I have to go to Italy and ask this man or ask the estate for their permission. And because he spoke Italian, he did, and he could, and he, rest is history. But write what you're passionate about, or produce whatever. Like, say, maybe you're not a writer, but if you know people that can, I don't know. That's how these things get done. I'm learning it takes a long time.
But be like, David, hey, let's make a Mighty Ducks play. You can write it.
Oh my God. Quack, quack, quack. Yeah, I'm super into it. Although not everything needs to be turned into from a movie.
I agree.
But something.
I just thought like, because I was watching it a lot, and because it was like always on TV. I was like, this would be a fucking great musical.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Huh.
Well,
I'm a genius. It's fine. You can say.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. In that Maury Yeston interview, he was like, yeah, well, as I'm writing, like, then I find out that Andrew Lloyd Webber's got his version and of Phantom, and he's like, but we still.
Well, it's interesting. They were supposed to do Leonard Bernstein, I think, right? Or Leonard, whomever is Bradley Cooper is playing him in a movie.
Leonard Cohen.
No. Bernstein.
Oh, he's doing Bernstein. That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So right. Jake Gyllenhaal was supposed to be playing Leonard Bernstein in a movie as well. But now I don't think that's happening because of the Bradley Cooper thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's like, it's weird how these things kind of come to the surface at the same time. And I know that they don't, but sometimes.
Yeah. Like, they had like 2 Snow White movies, like.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you had that movie Mirror, Mirror, which was horrible.
Exactly.
Yeah. And look, another vampire movie. Remember when vampires were a thing?
Yes, absolutely. And True Blood, like it was a whole.
Oh my God, I loved True Blood.
It was a whole decade that we went through, really, with all of that.
The only good season of True Blood was like the first season.
Then it became like a parody of itself. I actually don't know what I'm talking about enough to say, but I've seen.
Did you watch True Blood?
I watched it occasionally, but only when I was in a room, like people would be like, either they had the DVDs or I was in a hotel and they would be re-airing it. And so I watched enough to know what was going on, but I cannot speak beyond that.
Yeah. I don't think like I can, like, I was a huge fan of Lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've seen every single episode. One episode I missed like 20 minutes of, but I don't think I can go back and rewatch it.
You don't think you can, or you don't think you're allowed to?
No, I can't do that to myself.
I see.
Like they lost me after season 2 when they were in the hatch.
But
it's just like
goddamn hatch. That's when they lost me too.
It was the entire second season.
Yeah.
And then it just got weird. And I think somebody was saying they just like wrote shit and made it up. Like there was a polar bear.
Yep.
But I will say, so Michael Emerson, who played Ben Linus, like haven't seen him in years, but like he used to live in my area. So I would always see him and I'd be like, Ben Linus. I saw him in Gristedes once. I didn't like say this to him because I'm normal.
Right.
And I'm not comfortable going up to people unless it's like at a stage door.
Sure.
Like very once in a rare blue moon have I done that. I think like the last time I did it was like I was walking through a parking garage in Times Square and I saw some of the cast of Downton Abbey.
Oh wow, that'd be jarring in Times Square anyway.
Well, there was the, as John Leguizamo calls it, the ghetto side of Times Square. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. He's also fantastic on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and they were super lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I may or may not have admitted that I watched it illegally online.
I love that.
The new season.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I will plead the fifth on that too.
About Downton Abbey?
No, about illegal downloading, because I'm like, I've done it, but also
I'm sure everyone. Yeah. We also had a discussion about bootlegs on YouTube.
Oh, right. I know. Yeah. So everyone's in good company.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we're kind of like done with your dream roles because you don't have anything like super specific, what are your like top going theater experiences?
Oh, okay. This I have written down. Let me just, for the sake of, okay, here we go. You ready?
I am so ready.
Cherry Jones in Doubt. John Douglas Thompson in Satchmo at the Waldorf, which is a one-man show where he plays Louis Armstrong and two other parts, and he's incredible. And I also saw him in The Iceman Cometh at BAM that had Nathan Lane and Brian Dennehy, and that was another one. I was like, I'll never forget this as long as
that. Good for you for getting a ticket for that.
My wife is friends with the stage manager, and it was we got a last minute invite to the press night or something. She was like, we have these two, and I will never forget it. I saw a production of Uncle Vanya at the Hunter Theater Project like 2.5, 3 years ago. And J.O. Saunders was the Uncle Vanya, and I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it was like right there. It was so cool.
I got to see him. So I've had like 9 lives, like I said. So I ushered at the Union Square Theater that doesn't exist anymore, and I got to see him.
He's so good.
Isn't he in Girl from the North Country?
That I don't know.
I think he is.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think he's just so great.
Yeah.
Tracy Letts, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. The shows that I keep going back to, like, because those are performances that really stuck out, but Oslo, Indecent, Giant at the Public off Broadway, Scottsboro Boys, The Ferryman. I saw a production of Enemy of the People at Manhattan Theater Club that had Richard Thomas and my friend John Procaccino in it, and that was incredible. The ones we talked about, like Next Fall and things like that, of course. Red.
I didn't see it, but I will say when I was waiting to get rush tickets to View from the Bridge, the Liev Schreiber, the guy who was online with me worked on Red, and he like came over from London to work on the show.
So good.
I think I'm still Facebook friends with him, actually.
So good. Yeah. That's another two-hander that I just think is just so perfectly.
It's also very hard to do virtually, so it's not happening.
Right. That would be so difficult. I bought myself one ticket when I was in New York for Showcase. I was like, I'm going to see one show, and I went and saw Patrick Stewart in the Scottish play, and he was absolutely incredible.
Did you see Alan Cumming do it?
I did not. The one-man version? I wished I did. That sounds so cool.
I also saw it for free.
Yep.
I really liked his interpretation of Lady Macbeth because the way he played it, she used sex to get what she wanted, and you don't really like see it that much interpreted that way. Yeah. I mean, it was a one-man show, but he did have like people.
Sure.
And the whole premise was it took place in an insane asylum.
Oh.
So he had and there was one point where he literally like is in a bathtub and he like goes under the water for like God knows how long, and then he comes back up.
So good.
Yeah. And then at the end of it, like once the show starts, he just starts over again, and that's the end of the show. So
my God.
It's like he's in this insane asylum with this like crazy guy who's doing the entirety of Macbeth and every character, and he just keeps it's incredible.
I did hear an interview, I think it might have been Ian McKellen. Somebody said, and forgive me if I've attributed it to someone who didn't say it, but that the Macbeths have the healthiest marriage in any Shakespeare play, which makes sense. I mean, it obviously unravels very quickly, but they're like super into each other, and they're like, I don't know, it's just really interesting, their relationship. So I think the production hinges on their chemistry, and Kate Fleetwood, I believe, with
That
Patrick
also
Stewart.
just reminds me of when Family Guy did Inside the Actors Studio. Alex, what's her name? Who plays Lois? Alex.
Oh,
yeah. Something with a B. She's on Maisel, and I'm losing my.
Alex. Oh God.
Something with the B. Hold on.
Yep.
I want to say Bronstein because that's not Alex.
Burns. Bernstein Bears. Nope.
Oh, I loved the Berenstain Bears growing up.
I did too.
Alex Borstein.
You were more right.
Yeah, they were talking about like the relationship with Lois and Peter. She's like, she's this, and she just loves having sex with her husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there are some episodes where I was watching one the other day where like Stewie and Brian just shrink themselves down, and she's vacuuming. She's like, I hate my life. Nobody can hear me while I'm vacuuming. And like I watched the episode on Sunday, and it was just like they had this singer whose name I don't know, but they played his song, and I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And it was like, and it was right. That horse was not that nice, and it really stuck with me. And now your wives know who I am. It just the fucking funniest thing.
The jump.
Oh, their cutaways sometimes are just so fucking brilliant.
So good.
Anyway. Any other things? Anything you want to ask me before we wind down?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I had fun. Thank you for this.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going to do some Inside the Actors Studio questions. Okay. Unless there's like another game you want to play.
No,
what did we say earlier? What game we were going to do? Oh,
I think
the fifth.
Well, but we settled on Inside the Actors Studio, I think.
Well, no, I told you that's what we're doing.
That's what you do. Okay, yeah.
Because I mean, certain people I had on, I was played like Cast It or Cast Me, where I would like come up with something stupid, or like here, cast like, the musical version of like the Avengers.
Right.
Or, like
right.
Cast this person like Nathan Lane in a show, stuff like that.
So difficult.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's easy. My favorite was always Funny Girl because I know who I would cast in it.
Yeah.
Shoshana Bean.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
And Benjamin Walker.
Oh, that's a great combination. Oh, that would be super interesting.
I know.
That would be super interesting. You have an eye for it.
I do. Okay. This is the famous thing from Bernard, whatever his name is. I don't remember. Anyway, what is your favorite word?
Oh man.
That's it? That's 2 words.
No, the word I think of right away is love, but I feel like that's a little cliche, but
that's mine too, and I understand that it's cliche, but I usually stick with it.
I'm going to stand by it. Love.
Right. What is your least favorite word?
Can't or don't. Can't.
So you really have a strong feeling to that song, Everybody Says Don't?
No. It just like it just seems to me like when I have a visceral reaction to being told I can't, professionally speaking, if that makes sense. That's not really the answer I want to give you, but that's the gut instinct that I like, because I haven't, goes back to my issues.
I feel like I'm going to get an email later and be like, so I was thinking about it.
Like, probably.
The word I came up with. Thanks.
Can't.
What turns you on?
Intelligence, joy, love, kindness, intelligence, humor. Yeah.
Great. What turns you off?
I feel like I actually wrote these down once. the mistreatment of people,
Mhm.
the disregard for people. I should say humanity in general. The disregard for,
The lack of humanity in
yeah,
people.
yeah, and the deliberate lack of humanity. I think most
Yeah.
importantly, it's not good.
We definitely talked about that a lot last week.
Hmm.
What is your favorite curse word?
Probably fuck. But
It's a common one. You can use it in so many
yeah,
different
you really can
ways.
use like the gerund form, and like
Yeah.
I like words that make me laugh. Like sometimes shitballs is funny. I don't know. Like sometimes these, I don't know. They're funny words. Let's make no mistake about that. They are funny words.
I enjoy very funny words. Like the word, it just reminds me of like a Will and Grace episode where he's like duty. I think that's
Yeah, it's
hilarious.
funny. It's funny. Yeah.
Like poop duty. It's
Poop
hilarious.
duty.
I also have like a very immature sense of humor. Um,
I get it. I get it. I think I'll stick with fuck though.
yeah.
It's
I say it multiple times a day.
okay.
What sound or noise do you love?
Hmm. Um, my wife's singing voice, and I think it's maybe because I was gone, helping with my father, and I came back, and I heard her warming up, and I also know that for her singing right now it's a challenge because she's in the middle of a pandemic and she's lost her mother who loved her singing, and there's a
Mhm.
lot loaded with that. And so when I
Yeah.
hear her sing, I think of it's beauty, but it's also bravery to me, and like it's something that she's also always apologized. She's like, "Sorry, I gotta warm up," and I'm like, "No," but like as someone that knows what it's like to struggle with that and maybe not winning that fight, I'm glad that she's winning that fight, and it's really great to me.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Hmm. Oh boy, I can't put a finger on it, but there's like sounds that I associate with sorrow, not just sadness, but sorrow. And uh, it's weird in any other context, some of them are good, but like um, I have a very visceral reaction when I walk into like hospitals or places like that, which I know people are being taken care of, but sometimes it's like airports, sometimes the same thing. It reminds me of saying goodbye. My body doesn't know the difference if I'm leaving for 2 days or for a week or for a year or whatever. So that's I say that because my wife and I were long distance for a long time. I've been long distance with my family since I was 18, and you know,
Mhm.
I don't know. Hospitals and airports are like super triggering for me.
So any sounds from there triggers you?
Kind of,
Definitely.
kind of. Yeah, kind of. I know it sounds weird, but
So doing next fall where we had like the hospital sounds in
yeah,
between.
yeah. And I was also like with that pinched nerve, I was just like,
Again, we did that scene 5 times.
yeah, that's true.
Like, I
Yeah,
told you, I'm like, it normally doesn't take that long.
right, right,
As you saw, it's like a 2 or 3 top.
right. Yeah, it's true.
Mhm. Okay. What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Um, this is weird because I've been in situations where I think maybe I won't do this anymore, and I it's hard for me to picture my life in general.
Mhm.
And I also know that because of the arts, I am alive today. I am
Mhm.
one of those kids that had opportunity in the arts, and therefore I felt like I had a place or a tribe, and
Mhm.
maybe wouldn't be alive today if it weren't for that. So I don't know if there is an answer to that question, unless I specifically say writer. But I also feel like that's part of my profession. So
Songwriter,
maybe.
singer.
But that's also within the boundaries of the arts. So I can tell you what it's not. It's not being a waiter. Done that.
What
uh,
profession? Oh my God. What profession would you not like to do?
uh,
Waiter. Oh, you've done it.
I mean, I've done it. It doesn't, and you have to do what you have to do. But I do know I could never be in the medical profession. Not because I don't want to be, but I have so much empathy that I feel like I have these sympathy pains that like Let's stop me.
I'm in the medical profession and I don't deal with any of that stuff.
Okay, that's fair. I
Yeah.
guess I mean, like, I could not be a surgeon. I know that.
Or a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my younger sister is obsessed with Grey's Anatomy. And she's
Yeah.
like, I want to be a surgeon, but I also want a family. I think she should go into dermatology because she's
Oh, there you
obsessed
go.
with
Yeah.
skincare.
Yeah.
But who am I to say
There
anything?
you go.
Lastly,
Okay.
if heaven exists,
Mhm.
what would you like to hear when you, I'm going to say that again. See, can't read. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
This is I don't want to say triggering for me, but only because my dad is super religious. He has Alzheimer's.
Or, I mean, if you don't believe in that,
Well, no, here's the thing. I was raised that way, and I
Mhm.
do. Faith is important to me, but I have a problem with religion. And so the more I feel like I go through this life, the more I feel like I'm worried that there's nothing at the end of the tunnel, but I would like to believe that there is something.
Mhm.
And I guess some acknowledgement of that. So my dad hinged always on this it sounds so parochial to say out loud. Is that the word I want? The phrase that he hinged on was "well done, good and faithful servant." And sometimes I think of, I would like to hear what he's going to hear, because I feel like he's like an idol of mine. And so, especially having seen him just recently, I feel like he's closer to that than I've ever seen him before. And so I want him to get what he wants out of that.
Mhm.
And so I feel like me hearing that too will be a confirmation that dad heard it as well. And that's like super tied together, those two things, I guess. Yeah. Boy,
I'm gonna-
those questions open up so much, don't they? They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some people, and sometimes they're just like, it's this.
Yeah, it's this.
I think it
Yeah.
depends. I mean, I worked a lot of inside the actors studios because they filmed where I went to college, and I've
Mhm.
seen a lot of them. And he often, if like he had an actor who wasn't religious, he would somehow shape the question differently.
Yeah,
I don't remember how he did it. Yeah.
He's so brilliant.
Well, what's funny is I had somebody come on who I went to college with, and she did Dog Sees God with me, the reading I directed last year. And I literally couldn't think of a game. And I was like, let's just do the inside the actor studio questions. And then like a day or two later, they announced that he passed away.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's so weird. So I've kind of been doing those questions, kind of like
Yeah.
to
Carry
keep
on.
it going, keep on the tradition.
So
Plus, like, I remember when I was in high school and like, oh, there's a bug. No, woohoo. I'm like asking people that question in like a class,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we would just talk about what our answers are.
Very revealing. It's so interesting.
Yeah. But I feel like fuck is a common one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, again, you can use it so many different ways.
You can.
Yeah.
And it just gets it out. It's like,
I like to say fuck a duck.
fuck a duck.
It doesn't
I
mean
like
anything. I say fuck a duck sometimes. Fuck me or fuck this. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. It's so,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's so good. And it's also so powerful if it's just
Yeah.
in one, yeah.
I don't think I've said like fuck you to anybody though.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Yeah, you did. You did last week in a play.
Well, but
In real life.
in doing that, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is really something to say that to a person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great play. Great play.
Mhm.
Great people.
Let's do it again.
I'd love to.
Matinee tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's
I'm
Friday.
working.
Oh my
Saturday? Am I working Saturday? I'm working.
Sometimes there are Thursday matinees, and sometimes there are Saturday and Wednesday matinees. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Sometimes there's.
Yeah. I'm brain fried. This is my short week.
I hope it's enjoyable.
It's all good. I'm just trying. I have stuff on Sunday. David, I'm gonna stop the recording, but you can still hang on
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
I adore you as a human. Yeah, long hair. My friend took a photo of me like that I posted on Instagram, which was literally a candid, and I was like, holy shit, my hair got so long.
Pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I like it long. And plus, like, I get really hot over the summer, so I figured it's just more manageable to like throw up my hair,
I see.
not
I see
like
what you mean.
vomit
Yeah,
wise.
yeah. I see exactly.
I mean, I could throw up from the heat. That's another story. Like, I even made myself notes to ask you those things. Like,
And you did,
I
right?
did.
Yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
I wrote like top going theater experiences because I forget to ask people. I'm gonna like throw it behind me and it lands in a trash can.
I hope I gave you enough of what
Yeah,
you
we've been talking for quite some time.
we have. I have to go make
Soup.
well, I've made the soup, but I have to go add the chicken to it, which I
Yeah.
usually throw in last when I cook it. It's like this whole thing I've done now, and I perfected the recipe over the course of this pandemic.
What type of
And
soup is that?
it
Why are
is
we talking
a
about this on a podcast?
it
What
is
type of soup
a
is it, David?
it is a chicken vegetable soup with brown rice, but it's exquisite.
So for our sex's imminent picnic, you'll bring the soup.
I mean, if it's 95 degrees outside, I probably won't, but
Sure.
it's really good soup. Make a
Right.
great
And just bring me a container. I'll heat it up at home.
You will love it. Are you allergic to anything?
Oats.
That's so specific, but no oats.
It's the only food I'm allergic to.
Okay.
And it's so funny. People are like, oh my God, how do you eat? I'm like, clearly very well. Like,
Yeah, there's things that don't have
I
oats.
have
You just can't have oatmeal, which is
no. You know what kills me is I can't have Cheerios.
oh, that is shitty.
Hmm.
Oh man.
But I've eaten stuff with oat fiber in it, and then like it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what else? Well, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna end the podcast
Okay. Bye,
because
podcast.
just talking about what
Oats.
foods I'm allergic
Yeah.
to. Are you allergic to food? Let's end with you, David. What are you
No,
allergic to?
I believe that beer is disagreeing with me more in my 30s than it did in my 20s, and I believe it
I just feel
swells
like
me.
that's alcohol in general.
Well, no, I think like whiskey's fine, but I think I physically swell. Like I think it inflames my body, which is just alcohol in general. But no, I'm lucky that I'm not allergic to foods.
Perfect. Well, on that note, David,
On
thank
that
you
note,
for coming on to my
thank
podcast.
you.
Bye, kids.